Hello, everybody. We back. I say that because it's been a few months since I recorded an episode with someone. So you get the gist. Anyway, I'm telling our guest this as I look at my microphone like it's a human. Welcome back to the newest episode of the Theater Enthusiast podcast. I'm so excited. I told him before we started, it has been a long time coming for him to come onto this podcast because I've wanted him on here for a while. He's an actor, he's a writer, he's a director. Dare I say producer because of your production company?
Say it.
Producer. Pen drop
Yeah, yeah.
is welcome. Oh, I should also say currently starring in Celino v. Burns, which we did not I did not find out if it was a musical or a play before we started.
I'm gonna tell you everything about it because it's maybe the funniest show.
Oh, I
And
cannot wait to see it. Anyway, I should say who you are because I
sure,
have,
say it. Yeah.
yeah, Noah Weisberg. There you go. I used to have an applause app, but nobody can hear it on Zoom anymore.
Oh,
So,
right. Yeah,
yeah, can you hear this? Hopefully, that's a smatter of applause. Snaps. You could see it.
yeah. I see it.
Yeah, thank you. There you go. Curtsy. There you go. Nice little bow. Taking things out of our pockets too, I see.
Right. Yeah. I always have a little gum with me, a little
Yeah.
lip balm.
This,
Some things.
yeah, listen, I carry gum, breath mints, lipstick, a pen, eyeglasses cleaner because Warby Parker,
Yes, I have the. I always have. I even still carry a mask in my back pocket.
I the last time I wore a mask was yesterday because I don't know if you could see, you probably can't, but I had a really bad reaction to a facial I had on Friday. So my
Right,
skin is like really bad. So I had to wear a mask to get a prescription that was given to me for, yeah. You don't have to look that closely. Thank you.
Well, no, I'm just saying if this is a bad skin day for you, then tell me your routine because you have great skin. Number
Oh,
one.
this is all an illusion because we're on a Zoom.
Yeah,
There you go.
soft open.
But I do moisturize. So thank you.
Put away.
Thank you. Oh, what type of moisturizer? Let's talk about moisturizer. What moisturizer do you use? What's your,
Um,
hold on, Noah. Let's tell the kids out there because people need to know as a professional in this industry, how do
yeah,
you keep looking yourself like so fresh and so clean, as they would say?
yeah.
Your
Well,
skincare routine. You wake up, what do you do?
Well, you do it night and day, night and morning. My mother, when I was a little kid,
Mhm.
told me, I remember, she was like, don't wrinkle your forehead. You're gonna have wrinkles in your forehead. So I like am not a forehead tension person, which is a great thing. She randomly told me. And I always moisturize since I was like a little kid for some reason.
Yeah,
Um, I now use Paula's Choice. You ever heard Paula's Choice?
it sounds familiar.
It's not, I always say it's not up to me. It's Paula's
It's
Choice.
Paula's choice. Yeah.
And yeah, I do a little night, a little morning, maybe a little vitamin C serum,
Nice.
a little exfoliant, a little liquid exfoliant, not with the little beads.
Hmm.
Definitely sunblock every day,
Hmm.
mineral sunblock, not the like normal stuff. It leaves a little bit of like a tint sometimes. So people like, you have the flu? I'm like, no, no, I have moisture. I have, sunblock on.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm protected from the sun. So
yeah,
yeah,
we're supposed to reapply every 2 hours, and none of us do it.
no, I don't wear sunblock. I should, but I don't. Yeah, my skincare routine, it's you know, you wash with the cleanser, you tone, serum, moisturizer, eye cream at night, same thing, but with a different serum and a different night cream. There you go.
Yeah.
You
So
don't have
we're
to
kind of similar.
avoid.
Like, I'm not
Yeah,
like really dedicated, but it's simple and it's quick
yeah.
and
And I
it
was
does
like,
nothing.
good for you, because like on my Instagram discovery, because I think my Instagram just like knows that I'm single and like the dating apps are the bane of my existence. Um, mhm,
Yes, I'm nodding. Yes.
yeah. Somebody was like, how do you know like if a guy like a red flag, no, a green flag for a guy? And they said if he has a good skincare routine.
I think it's true because it means he's probably got some respect for himself and cares about not just appearance, but like cares about health and well-being. Also might mean he's had good influences in his life. Sometimes it's like past
Yeah.
relationship or somebody
Mhm.
that cares about him enough to go, dude, like you got to use some moisturizer.
Yeah. I mean, I will say the last guy I dated had a skincare routine, but he was just like a walking red flag with like everything else he did in it with like stuff. So
Not good either. great skin, not great in the soul at the moment. Need
Eh,
some
it was fine,
develop-
you know.
hinge,
Hmm?
hinge.
No, I'm not getting into how I met him.
All right.
Not a podcast story. That's an off podcast story.
Right.
Yeah, but not Hinge. Although I feel like I like hell froze over and I rejoined Hinge because I work with like two females in my office and one of them is on Hinge and like the dating thing. And they're like, you should join, you should join. So like begrudgingly I did.
I mean, when I was on them, I have a lovely girlfriend, very grateful.
Yeah.
But back in the day when I was on them, um, yeah, they're terrible and they're great
Yeah.
because like you could be bored at home, be like, I want to meet a person. Maybe it'll be a friend, maybe it'll be a girlfriend, whatever. Like, you know, it's kind of exciting and also terrible.
Yeah.
And then Raya, that one is like the worst because it's all like people are just there to kind of see who's on it
Well, I
and
also couldn't get onto Raya. So
missing absolutely nothing.
yeah, I think they're all terrible. And the worst is that I have cousins who have met the people that they are now married to on Hinge. I'm like, you also met them like in your 20s going into your 30s. Like, not to age myself, but I am in my 30s and I feel like it's a totally different thing.
Yeah, and yes, and also just age aside, there are people I've been to hinge weddings. I've been to like
Yeah.
there's great luck, and I've met really nice people back in the day, and so I'm happy for those experiences. But
Are you gonna now you have to say like where you met your girlfriend?
it's a great story.
Oh, please do. Please tell.
So we did a new musical together at La Jolla like a million years ago. We were just friends,
Mm-hmm.
and and then maybe 6, 7 months ago, she happened to and then we like remain like Instagram friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then she reached out on Instagram, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, "Oh, she's still with that guy, or what? I don't know." She was like, "Oh, I saw you on this TV show. Cool. Where are you? Oh, I'm in LA. Oh, I'm in New York. All right. Well, next time." She's like, "Next time you're in town, let's grab a bite." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then a few days later, I was going over some sides for a TV audition in person in LA, and I was like, "So nice to be back in the room post pandemic."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let me look at the breakdown of the character because often I do, but then sometimes like I don't want to pay too much attention because I try to be everything they say instead of just bringing myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, no, let me look at the breakdown one more time. And I looked and I was like, oh, this is in New York. It's in New York. It's Thursday and it's the audition's Tuesday. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to New York. I miss it, and any chance to go, I'll go. So here I am, 4 days after that little like, hey, I saw you on TV. I was like, hey, I'm on a plane. I have an audition and let's get dinner. So we had dinner and then I thought it was like 30 minutes, an hour, I don't know, but it was like 4 or 5 hours. And basically by the end, we are like, do we love each other? Maybe we love each other. Or are we in love? Okay, we're in love. I mean it,
The
maybe
wedding's next week.
wedding's next week
Mm-hmm.
and we bought 4 houses together. Yeah. So it's really lovely because she's such a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and there's already we don't know each other that well because we weren't like close friends for all these years, but we have a foundation and we know it's
Oh,
just like it feels easy.
yeah.
That's a nice feeling for relationships. I've dated a lot, not a lot, but like a good amount of really lovely people that maybe weren't always the right match or the right timing. And this one is just like, oh, this feels easy. Oh, this feels supported. Oh, that's so what a nice treat, especially when showbiz is so up and down, to have a nice, consistent human being in your life.
That's great. Well, now let's talk more about you. I love how the first 10 minutes is about dating
And skincare.
and skincare. Yeah, see? Told you we totally got off topic. Right out of the gate, here we are. So,
Right.
where are you from?
I grew up in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
um, in a suburb of Chicago primarily. I split my time between a suburb called Northbrook
Hmm.
and the city on the weekends with my dad. And what a great place to grow up and great place to do children's theater and
So,
eventually.
I heard a quote from you because I always ask, like, what got you into theater and performing? And you said in a stage doored interview that was about 2 minutes, wanted to get into theater because I'm terrible at sports.
You know, my brother Andrew, my older brother, always says that's not true. He's like, you were actually good. I just don't think you cared. I
Mhm.
can say this. I don't know that I actually was good. I I always knew, but I didn't know to say anything that I never felt comfortable. Like, not because I felt I couldn't say anything to my parents,
Mhm.
but I just didn't know. Like, I was like, oh, this is what you do. You're in the suburbs and you put the baseball uniform on. Your mom drives you to the baseball field and then you're practicing, you're playing. I always felt like I didn't want to be there and I didn't want the ball to come to me. And I was like, these are not my guys here. Like, not that they were bad kids, but I was like, these are not.
I don't know.
I
I think I smell a story of a short story.
It's actually a TV pilot I'm writing that I finished the draft right before I started Selena v. Barnes.
Yeah, I was going to ask because again, I do my research
Yeah.
on wow, this sounds so stalkery. February 26th of this year, you posted end of pilot
I
photo.
I wrote two
Hmm.
pilots. And I co-wrote one with my best friend Adam Smith. We grew up together. He's a great actor, a great writer, uh, and just a great friend. And we co-wrote one that I won't say what it's about, but um, the next step with that is to try to go and pitch it to networks and see if they'll make it. And pretty much the same with the one I wrote by myself, which has to do with children's theater. And yeah, I probably shouldn't talk much about it, but it feels like the original Wonder Years.
That's great.
Yes. So instead of making it like The Office, but at a children's theater, it's more about this kid and his family and what he's going through and what they're going through and him finding himself through theater.
So is that kind of semi-autobiographical?
Yeah, semi. Like so much of it, I read it to my mom and she loved it. And she's like, but that didn't happen. Oh no, do I look terrible? I was like, well, this isn't really us.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, I know what it's like to be a boy who
Hmm.
and this happens to young girls and everybody, but like is shoved into an activity that's not where they want to be. And then they stumble upon or find something or always have a secret love for this other thing.
Yeah.
Um,
So where would you say your secret love or your passion? I mean, having seen a chorus line when
yeah,
you were younger and you were like your aha moment into theater. Can you talk more about that? Not having done a chorus line yourself, apparently.
yes, yes, that's true. I am not one of those, and this is sort of the story in the show too, is like I'm not one of those kids that like secretly was performing in my basement and I was always like Glee or something, or like
Mhm.
was meant to do this. I
Did
kind
you,
of stuck
total
into
side
it.
note, did you audition for Glee?
I don't think I ever auditioned for it.
Okay. Just
Uh,
curious.
yeah, I don't think I ever had an audition for it. Uh, yeah, I wish I could have, but I
Well,
don't
it's, I
remember.
mean, you have Zoe's extraordinary playlist, so you got to sing on TV.
This is true. But there
Yeah.
were a few years gap between it. I could have been on both.
Yeah.
And I really like that show. Uh, I mean, Matt Morrison.
I had my coworker, she loves Glee and she's so much younger than I am. And so like the joke is like, oh, I know this from Glee. I know this from Glee. So, and I haven't seen Glee since it first came out, and she was talking about him singing the thong song. So she showed us a clip of him singing the thong song, and we were all just like crying, laughing. We were just like, how, I don't know. I just, yeah.
They were going through the canon and they're like,
Yeah.
what have Mr. Morrison sing the thong song?
The thong song. Yeah. It was great.
Um, he booked that during South Pacific.
Oh, I remember.
Yes, yes, yes. He went away for a few days and came back and was, I don't remember the exact story, but booked what would become one of the biggest TV shows of that time. I mean,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was never one of those like secret, like, oh, I just sort of stumbled into it.
Hmm.
And I think I was taking little acting classes at my children's theater.
Hmm.
Um, and then some kid who's a great guy Jeff. was very much taller than me, and I was already tall,
Mhm.
was like on the bus one day, was like, "You auditioning for Babes in Toyland at the Children's Theater?" And I was like, yeah. Like I wasn't, but somehow maybe he knew I took the classes. I don't know why he came over to me. I was like, "Are you gonna beat me up? Like, what's gonna happen?" And so I told my mom, I was like, "I'm auditioning for Babes in Toyland," and then I had like two lines, and it was great.
Yeah. And
Changed my
here,
life.
yeah. And then you played Grandpa Joe in a production of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Cut to
That's sure.
playing Willy Wonka years later, which we'll get into.
Yeah,
So, did you perform like throughout middle school and high school and all that as well?
I did. Yeah, I did. I don't know, 20 something shows at this and this guy, Dr. Denhart, Gregory Denhart, was this, I mean, is, but doesn't run that program anymore. Just cared so much about theater and taught us to be so professional when we were like 8. Uh, and so we were doing the shows and doing crew backstage for the
Mhm.
other casts. And it was just a great place to grow up, and then transition into high school theater. And then, yeah, then went to NYU. And
Yeah.
just there.
So, what made you decide NYU?
Um, luck, I think. Um, it was a young lass that I had dated in high school who was so talented. Had always talked about going to NYU. And so the other schools I applied to were like Illinois and Iowa and things that were like state schools. They were great schools, but like those are the places you go if you're from the Chicago area, if
Hmm.
you're going to go to state school. And then I applied to NYU
Hmm.
and luckily got in, like
Yeah.
flew out, auditioned, and did the whole thing. And she
Did
went to
you
Michigan
did you
5 years.
know that you wanted to pursue this going to college, this like career path into performing?
Yes. However, I didn't know I was going to major in theater until junior year of high school. I again, I wasn't one of those kids that was like, I'm going to be a Broadway star. I never even thought about it. I just looked up uh at the like looked, I was like, oh, 10 years have gone by, and all I've done and all I care about are plays and my friends.
Hmm.
All I've done, and show choir and speech and debate and like all the performy type things that you could do in my community is what I got joy out of. And I was like, well, now I got to start applying to, or think about where I'm applying. And
Hmm.
where I apply is based on what I want to major in. It's like,
Yeah.
am I really in theater? So it just hit me. I wasn't one of those like, I'm going to be on Broadway kids. Never thought of it.
Yeah. So you go to NYU and then you graduate. What
Yeah.
happens next? What led you to your Broadway debut in Legally
Yeah.
Blonde?
Well, I had like, God, I'm forgetting his name. He's a huge star and he's amazing. Um,
What was he
when
in? Do you remember what he's in? I'm good with names.
it's like one word show. Um, it maybe took place in London, TV show.
Oh,
Rob Delaney.
okay.
It also could be like Brad Smith, and I just made it up. I don't know.
No,
But
I
I think
think
it's
Rob Delaney's a person.
a great comedian, actor. Anyway, we were doing a musical together senior year of college. And we were then going to do, he was like the lead. I was like the second guy lead.
Hmm.
And we were going to then do a sort of like performance for some festival, New Works, whatever it was, and he wasn't available. So like, Noah, why don't you'll play the role at this thing? So I did. And the producer of the St. Louis Muni saw me there and was so kind and brought me to audition for the Muni where I got my equity card. And so I go and audition. I don't hear anything. And I was going to go back to do summer stock again in New Hampshire at this little non-equity place that I had a blast at the summer before.
Hmm.
And my mom was like, just call the producer guy, not knowing that you don't just call the producer of the St. Louis Muni. So I
Yeah.
was like, hi, producer, please. And so I called him and he was like, oh, yeah, yeah. All right, well, here are the shows. Yeah, you were great. Here are the shows. What do you want to do? I was like, what? It's like, so we're doing Damn Yankees. I was like, oh, I like the nerdy pitcher guy. Like, great, that's a good fit. How about this? How about, and so I went through and I played lead, like a couple leads that summer, but then I also got an offer to go on the non-equity tour right out of college. It's all right out of college, or as I'm finishing college, of a non-equity tour of a musical. And I wanted to go on it because I was understudying the lead role. And so I had both contracts and dated the non-equity contract like that day and the equity contract the next day. So even though the summer stock gig was equity and was going to happen first, because I signed the contracts in the proper order, I was able to fulfill both contracts.
Oh,
So I got
wow.
to go to uni, have a great summer, then go on a non-equity tour playing a role I never would have played equity, in an equity
You
tour.
can say what show it was.
Oh yeah, it was big, the musical.
Oh, cool. I saw that when it was on Broadway.
Yeah, so did I. I love the score.
I don't remember anything from it that much, to be completely honest with you. I was a young kid, but yeah,
Yeah,
like
we had
I've been seeing shows since I was 5. So
It's so lucky too that you grew up around here and got to do that. I mean,
yeah,
we had great theater and stuff to see in Chicago, but
yeah.
you got
I
a lot of
may I only know one other person around my age who was able to do this, but I got to see Julie Andrews and Victor Victoria on Broadway.
yeah, I did too. Yeah.
Oh, you did too? So I know another person who got to do that.
It's just us.
Yeah, just who's the other person? Just us. I have it on DVD somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Legend. A
Hmm.
legend.
Yeah.
Uh, but this is a good story, and then it goes. So I like went to the Muni, worked, then did the tour, then came back, did a couple more shows at the Muni, and then didn't work for a year.
So during what did you do? Because people need to know this if they want to pursue the career. What were your jobs? What did you do? How did you stay creative during that time?
Okay, here's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
The jobs were catering,
Mm-hmm.
in the catering.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I could sort of like pick and choose days as opposed to being on a staff of a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a lot of catering, and I was a nanny for a year and a half. Uh, but that was flexible because I would just pick them up from school, and so I could audition during the day and stuff like that. And I ended up doing like an off-Broadway show during that time, so I could like be with the kid, help with the homework,
Which show?
the Awesome 80s prom.
Which I do want to talk about.
A big life changer because I got to meet one of my best friends, Ken Davenport,
Oh,
who's
we'll get into it. Don't worry. I fucking loved the Awesome 80s prom.
it's a blast.
Yeah. Were you the nerd?
I was a nerdy guy, yeah.
Yeah.
And uh yeah, so the thing I just always think is like I don't know why. Again, I realized looking back, like I wasn't the kid that thought I'm gonna be a Broadway actor. I just all of a sudden was like, oh, I guess I'm doing it. And the same with auditions. Like I went to school and I know a lot of talented people who majored in it. Them and their families spent so much money on these schools, and some pursued it and a lot didn't.
Yeah.
Or a lot were like, okay, I'm going home for the summer. We just graduated. I was like, what? Like we just did 4 years of this training. Like I want to audition for everything. So I auditioned for everything. I was in line for every open call. I didn't have an agent right away. So I was like in line for every open call, anything I could do. So I'm that kind of like, and we'll get into it, but like Ken Davenport is that kind of guy who's just like, I will do anything. I used to, again, we'll get into it, but Ken and I would hang out all the time during the beginning of the Awesome 80s prom, and we'd be at his house eating Domino's pizza. And because it was his first show he was producing, he was like, I'm going to be the ticket agency because I can't afford to hire one.
Hmm.
So we'd be hanging out and be like, hold on, hold on. Hey dude, Awesome 80s prom. Oh yeah. And he would like get so excited. He's like, I just sold a king and queen package, which is like an upgraded thing where you get a sash and a one drink or whatever. So I love that idea of like just do everything it takes to in a kind, you know, honorable way to like get your goals happening.
Yeah. So I fucking loved the Awesome 80s prom. I went to it, I want to say my senior year of college. Somebody who I was very good friends with was actually auditioning for the Awesome 80s prom. So I went with her to like, they're like, you're auditioning, you need to see the show. So I was her like plus one to it. And then for like my 21st birthday celebration with my friends, we went to the Awesome 80s prom and we
Was
got
I
all
in it?
this. No, you weren't. But funnily enough, the guy who played the jock many years later, I was one of those people who sold salon promotions on the street, and he was my boss.
Oh, wow.
I said, I saw you in the Awesome 80s prom, and I even have a photo with you.
Oh my God.
And he goes,
Wow.
did you Google me? Because if you Google him, some stuff came up about him.
Oh no, I can't wait till this is over. Then we can talk about it.
Yeah. So much juice and drama. No, I fucking love the Awesome 80s prom. It was so fun. And what a brilliant idea.
Brilliant idea. That was Ken's idea, and then
Mhm.
hired a great group of us to co-write and
Yeah.
improv it together, and then he polished it up and made it what it was. And yeah, what a great it became like the Bachelorette Central.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I celebrated I mean, I was already 21, but like with my friends when we went back to college, we went to the Awesome 80s prom. We all got dressed up in 80s gear, and it was just, and then ironically afterwards we went to Johnny Rocket. So from like the 80s to the 50s in 80s
Yes,
gear. It was so much fun.
that's Johnny Rockets on the NYU campus area over there.
Yeah. Well, it was at Webster Hall, so it's kind of in that vicinity.
We used to go after every show. We went to Uno's Pizza that used to be on Third Avenue, right across the street, basically. And when they were remodeling, they built us a huge long bench, like a booth, like super long for like 20 of us. Because we came maybe I did the show for a year or whatever it was. We came, a couple times a week. And each booth had a plaque that they had put up, like the governor's booth or whatever, like Chicago, kind of like mafia,
Mhm.
sounding stuff. So I said, I'll make one. Can it be called the prom committee? So that was a fun moment when we came to the restaurant that night, and I was like, Ken, he's like, what?
Is
So we
it
had a,
still there?
no, I think the restaurant's finally gone.
Mm.
But there was I mean, like a longer booth than you normally see in a restaurant, and the nice plaque, the prom committee.
Yeah, so you had like a nice area for college. Mine was the financial district where like everything was closed on the weekends. But at
Yeah.
least
And
we have the
yeah,
seaport. We have the seaport.
beautiful, beautiful
Oh,
down there.
oh, 100. I would go down there like when I was stressing, just look at the Brooklyn Bridge. That was my zen.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was great.
A great school.
I'm sorry.
Great school. There's so many great people that have come out of that
Well,
school.
it's a lot different now from when I was there, to be honest. So like now it's its own performing arts school. What is happening here? Sorry, my hair is having a moment. Um, no, it's a lot different now than when I was there. So thank you for thinking I'm so young that you know,
I mean,
yeah.
we're
But
kids.
a very good friend of mine is currently in Titanic off Broadway.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think they were a freshman when I was this, no, they weren't a freshman. I don't remember, but we've known each other for like 14 years and I've been their biggest fan.
Um,
Like every time, like I saw them in Almost Famous and then they went on as Jeff Beebe and my friend and I somehow got like second row tickets to like to
uh,
see them go on like their second night as Jeff Beebe. Yeah.
I love those moments. A long time ago, my buddy Victor Hawks, is in South Pacific. We were stoop
Mhm.
out and professor.
Yeah.
And Vic was understudying Hunter Foster in Urinetown. And they are the opposite types,
Yeah.
both completely talented. But I also was like, yay, casting directors and directors who were like, yes, Vic is amazing and super appropriate for the role, just not how they cast it originally.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm going on. And I lived in Hell's Kitchen at the time, so I just booked it to the theater and got a great seat and got to watch him just kill it. It's great.
Yeah. It's always great when you like know somebody who, so my friend's name is Brandon and they've been on the podcast. Um, I'm so happy for them because they're like the loveliest person and they're so fucking talented. So whenever like something good like that happens to someone who is just kind and talented, I couldn't like I'm like a proud mom,
Yes, that's how I feel.
like a
That's
proud
how I
Jewish
feel.
mother.
Yes, I messaged. I saw Funny Girl,
Mm-hmm.
which Julie Benko was on.
Mm-hmm.
Then I saw her in Harmony because Ken produced it, so I was there for opening. And I was like, just everything this woman does, she just stands out in the best way. And it's not that anyone else is bad, but like she's the
Yeah.
most grounded and the most connected and just the best.
Yeah.
So I messaged her on Instagram. I was like, I don't know if you're gonna see this, but you're great. And your voice, of course, is great, and there's a lot of great voices, but your acting is so good and so connected. And I just oh. And then she wrote back, she's like, wait, NYU, and I met you at the stage door at this show. So we ended up, becoming buddies, I guess. But it's one of those things too, where like I have no real full connection to her other than I'm like, this person is so nice and so good, and I'm so happy for those people that are just so kind when they
Well, I
just hit
also
it.
like weirdly feel that way about you too, like solely based on our, as I told you, our first meeting at that hotel. Because I tell
Yes.
people that story too. I was like, so this
Story.
guy,
Can you tell a story?
yeah. So you were sitting in a hotel. I don't even know if you were staying at that hotel, to be honest with you.
Probably was.
Okay. So you were in the lobby. I was concierging back in my concierge hotel days. I kept eyeing you. I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't remember your name, so I Googled somebody that you dated because I knew
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you dated them.
I bet it. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that's who it is. And then I don't know if you were eyeing me, but you eventually like came up to my desk and we started talking. And you said you were in town auditioning for School of Rock. And I said, oh, that's a good part for you because it was for Ned Schneebly. It's
Yeah.
actually pronounced Schneeblay. I also like, I love that movie.
I
It's,
love that movie.
I love that movie so much. And the stage musical was just like fucking awesome. And I actually knew Alex Brightman was cast before they announced it because doing the merch stuff, you get to know people, front of house and company managers and all that. And show I was working, somebody was leaving to do School of Rock. And I asked who's playing. Oh my God, why can't Dewey? And she goes, I shouldn't. She's like, I can tell you, it's going to be Alex Brightman. I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah.
And
And
I know I'm sorry, but oh my God, he's so good.
yeah, no, I've known of him since I was like in college because of Ryan Scott Oliver, like those rated RSO concerts that he did. And somebody I was friends with did those concerts with Alex Brightman. So that like I've always known who he is because of that. And the first time we saw School of Rock, he wasn't even in the show. We saw his understudy, but I said he's going to be nominated for a Tony based on a performance that I didn't even see him do, and he was.
Yeah. And I saw him in Beetlejuice, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, every bit that I would want done and 1,000 that I couldn't have even imagined myself were done perfectly. Like just ah, I'm a fan.
Yeah. Same. I also do a really good impression of him doing impressions of people because you ever see him do impressions?
I don't think so.
So he goes, hi, I'm Alex Brightman. Give me a person to do an impression of. Just like name
Nathan
anywhere.
Lane.
Who?
Nathan Lane.
Okay. Hi, I'm Alex Brightman. This is my impression of Nathan Lane. Hi, I'm Nathan Lane.
Hysterical.
Yeah, that's what he does. It's great. So
Like
anybody can do an impression of Alex Brightman doing an impression of anybody.
very funny.
Yeah, you want to give a shot? No, just leave it to him.
No, I feel like that's his bit. I don't want to,
Yeah.
it's the
That's
Brightman
why I
original.
say I do impressions of people doing impressions.
Right.
Yeah. We got totally sidetracked. So Alex Brightman is great. School of Rock. We were talking about how we met. And then we also talked about people not being so nice.
Oh, and when we met at the hotel.
Yeah. You were
Yeah.
telling me a story. I figured out who it was. And then I told you a story, but I didn't tell you who it was.
I told you, I'm not that we'll mention, but I told you a story about somebody not being nice.
Yeah. Which we can talk about after,
Yeah.
not on podcast, but yeah. And I've told that story actually a couple of times on the podcast about like how someone was a total dick to me, but I've never revealed the name on the podcast.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
but you also, and this is why like I loved interacting with you so much, and I feel this so much because I always say this, like especially on the podcast with actors who feel the same way, like, and I've always said people front of house talk. That's why you should just always be nice to people. And, I told you the story and you were just so like, that fucking sucks. Like somebody should just be grateful that they saw you in a show and they remembered you from that.
yeah, uh, I understand what is helpful in terms of interactions with people.
Mhm.
Like the big producer comes around, it is a good thing to be nice to the producer or whatever. Like I get that. But
Yeah.
and I used to get crap for this in high school. If you would meet my parents, you would understand where this comes from. And so it's just second nature to me. I just feel, this will sound like I'm saying like I'm great. I just am kind to people, and I don't feel like I'm trying to get something. It just I don't it doesn't come to me the other way.
Yeah.
Just don't it just does it's not second nature to me to be anything but like gracious and kind. And I mean, I'm sure I've had my moments, but like,
Yeah.
and then when we get to do this thing, it's theater or TV or like it's so crazy they pay us to do this. Now we can also get taken advantage of if you're like, oh my God, this is so wonderful. And they're like, well, you're gonna do 40 shows a week instead of 8. Like I understand you have to stand up for yourself and whatever. And I'm, pretty decent at doing that, but I am grateful. It's so because I have a great career and I also want it to be better. And I have friends who have worked less who are just as talented and in some cases literally more way better than me, truly better. And certainly I can pick out different skills of like you're a way better dancer, this, that, whatever. I believe so much of it is luck, not just hard work.
Hmm.
So obviously a lot of it is hard work and all that, but like just luck. I don't know why it also takes the pressure off when I don't get stuff. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, I was good in my School of Rock audition. I felt really good. And I remember thinking like, oh, this might go my way. And then I had a call back and all the stuff and I didn't get it. And I don't remember who got it, but I remember them being great. And I was like, just sometimes you're just the guy and sometimes you're not.
Yeah. And I think it also just like depends on, and it's like that old adage of like, it's not you. It could just be like something else the person was looking for, or, they'll think of you for, I mean, not to bring up like these play readings I did, because it was like 4 years ago at this point, 3 years ago. What time is an illusion?
Yeah.
And
Okay,
I
so
would have,
that didn't count.
I'm sorry.
Pandemic didn't count. So it's really like
Oh,
last Thursday, these
oh
things.
yeah, it was actually yesterday. Um,
Yesterday it was great.
there was a playwright who still wants to do it. I'm like, nobody really does virtual play readings anymore,
Yeah.
even though he really wants to. But I haven't spoken to him in a few months about it. So mhm.
Just go to Ripley Greer and you do the reading there. No Zoom. Let's go to
Yeah, I
Pearl.
don't think they were for in person, but we tried. Listen, the company that I worked with, we also tried to do like 2 cabarets and we sold like no tickets. So we're like, we
It's
can't.
a town in the world because every night there's a 300 performances to
And
go
we had
to.
like so many good people. We're like, they're gonna bring in people. And it was still like no one.
It's so hard.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Really
It's
hard.
yeah. What were we talking about? See, now I've had such a long day and we're talking about, yeah, no. So I was saying I would have like debates with people about like who we should cast in these reading. And I prided myself on being very good at casting, and they would say something. I just couldn't envision like a person they mentioned for the role. And it wasn't that they would be bad. It's just like if I was directing it, I'm like, I can't see that person for that part.
Yeah. And maybe the other person would have been better. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? And ironically enough, like that one person who was a dick to me, I was like, we're not reaching out to them for any virtual play readings. Who knows if
Right.
they've even said yes, but I was like, there's a part he'd be great for, not asking.
I mean, there's so many actors uh that why the heck not work with somebody who is nice to work with if you have that opportunity.
Yeah, and I think that's also, if you're nice and you're good, like working with people, like people will want to work with you again.
Yes.
And I think that's also an important thing too. That's why I always say, like, just be nice. Get along with everybody. If you
It,
can.
it is it's amazing how most people are not this way, but it is amazing how in any workplace, so let's focus on theater,
Mhm,
there are people that are just negative and angry about every little thing. And it's like, we're getting paid a decent amount of money to sing and dance, and it's
mhm.
tough work and it's exhausting and whatever. But like, we just don't have to, I don't know, there's just a different way to respond.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be to gain something from somebody else. Just maybe it's just inner peace or something.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, let's go back to your theater credits.
Yes, please. Damn
And
it.
I also, so you did Legally, I'm 99.9% sure I did see you in Legally Blonde because I did see the original cast.
Yeah.
Um, I also love how you went on as Emmett the same time that Anna Lee Ashford went on as Elle Woods, that
Oh yeah. Sure, yeah.
one time, apparently,
Yeah.
according to like the internet rumors, and there's like no video of her, but there's audio. So there is
Audio.
audio of the two of you on YouTube singing together.
Yeah.
It's like a
She's
dude.
she's
Please go ahead.
amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, we did the reading, no, the workshop, and then out of town, and then Broadway. And I remember, I mean, what the whole cast is crazy talented, but I remember watching her being like, you're doing something different that other people, I don't mean compared to the other people in the show,
Mhm.
but you have like a little style that's become sort of her signature style of like her voice and her affectations and things. I was like, you're doing something that I don't think we've seen
Yeah.
before or not much of on Broadway. So I remember it was really fun to watch her just pop and people be like, who's this genius over here of these, I mean, and you're up there with Keena Moore and Leslie Kritcher, like amazing other women, and you're holding your own and maybe even stealing the show a bit. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So you said you did workshops and you did the out of town. So how did it come into your life, Legally Blonde?
I auditioned for, I don't remember if I had an agent or not for it, but I auditioned. I didn't know the movie. I'd never seen it. And I remember auditioning. Maybe I did go to an open call. I'm trying to remember because I think maybe it was because I remember I was auditioning for Emmett, but I didn't know that was like the lead guy. I didn't know. I was just like, oh, this guy. And I remember someone saying like, oh, they described a different character in the show. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then right before I went in, they're like, no, 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 he's not that character. I'm so sorry. Don't play it that way. I was like, oh, okay. And I remember it going really well. And then call back and another call back. And again, I'm thinking like, oh, I'm going to be this guy Emmett. I was dumb and didn't watch the movie, but I also didn't want to get influenced. So I was just like, I just didn't know that
Mhm.
that amazing Christian Borle had already been cast and been working on it for a long time. And of course, he was already going to be doing it. And I was there to be the understudy. But um, I had maybe 4 or 5 dance callbacks. And dancing is not my first strength. So I would get someone from the dance call that I would say, like, can I buy you lunch? These are like Broadway people I'm dancing with. I buy you lunch, I'll do whatever. Can we go over the material like tomorrow or tonight, just in case I get a call back, so I can come back and know it and not freak out? Because for people that aren't, huge dancers, it is terrifying. It's like if you don't know Spanish well and you know a few kind of words and they're like, go, you're like, your brain's like, I don't know how to put the words together.
Mhm.
So I kept doing that. And I remember being on a Broadway stage because some guy was in a Broadway show and I like was in between shows and I couldn't believe I was rehearsing, whatever Ben and Stano, whatever it was, like on a Broadway stage of a different show. I couldn't believe it. And I remember what was maybe my fifth callback, and Jerry Mitchell was like, okay, so somebody asked me, they're like, hey, I'm sorry, dude, is the kick on like the and of four or the four? And I was like, it's the and. I was like, I've never told anyone anything in a dance combination. Um, and then Jerry, we did all the combinations we had learned over those days and days of callbacks. And then he went, okay, I'm going to throw one more new combination at you guys. Noah, you're probably not going to get this, but don't worry about it. And then in that moment, I was like embarrassed, horrified, and also like, am I going to book this? Because like he singled me out, and it was the greatest. And then I remember we did our first read through for the workshop. Um, and you're not guaranteed to stay with it from the workshop. They can just buy you out for 2 weeks and be
Mhm.
like, okay, it's 2 weeks of salary, which is not a lot for a big Broadway show, and then you're done. And I just remember crying because I was like, oh my God, this show is so well written. It's so good. A lot of the people knew the music already because they had done previous readings. And so I just couldn't believe I was there. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
I will say you were very lucky in your career because you've worked with a lot of like really great directors like Jerry Mitchell, Kathleen Marshall. You did Diner Regional. I think it
Yeah.
was who was it? Like, I think when I interviewed Aaron C. Finley, we spoke about it, and he was saying like how great the music was because it was Sheryl Crow music. And he was saying with his concerts, like, why don't you do one of the songs at your concerts? And he's like, yeah, I could text her. I was like, go ahead. I'm sure she would say yes.
I feel that's a bummer that it didn't go. I
Yeah.
mean, did it
I think
maybe?
he said like Waitress was coming around the same time, and it was like,
And that's what they told us, that that was part of it. And but we were never told officially. You
mhm,
know, no one's ever going to tell you exactly why something's going or not going. But we were all very proud of it. I mean, I'm sure there were things, and I didn't write it, but I'm sure there were things that could have been changed or fixed, or I don't know. That's up to them. But it was a great score, an incredible cast.
yeah. I think Ethan Slater too, right?
Slater, Derek Klena, Ari Brand, um, Erica Henningsen was my wife. I'm gonna forget 20 other people that were so good and have gone on to huge things. And
Yeah.
I'm
You
everybody
were
else.
in it, Aaron
I was in
Stanley.
it. And like it was a great show. And it's one of those shows where I love The Outsiders, so I'm not comparing this to The Outsiders, but
Mhm.
it's one of those shows where like if you're gonna go to the theater and you want to have like a little crush on somebody, there were like a talent crush, I mean, from the audience, like you had a plethora. You're like, I want like Derek, I want like leading man Derek, I want like sweet like little Ethan, I want like funny nerdy Noah, I want you just had talent crush galore in that show because everyone was so good.
Mhm.
And it was an Oscar nominated script and an incredible director choreographer, Kathleen.
Mhm.
Um, and we had signed our Broadway contracts. You had to sign the Broadway contract before you could sign the regional pre-Broadway production. And then yeah, and then they were like, or the rumor was it was confusing because Diner was or Waitress was coming, which obviously had nothing to do with our show, but it was like movie, pop writer, singer wrote this musical that takes place in a diner. Those are the only similarities, but the show is obviously very different. But yeah, I mean, it's fine, but it's a bummer because I don't know if it would have been the biggest hit, but I think people would have really liked it. I think it would have had a run.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I have my, oh, let's see, I told you I did my research.
Uh,
Yeah.
don't anything out. I want all the questions asked.
All the questions. Okay, let's start. Currently Selena and Barnes. I can't even read my own handwriting. We can talk like regional stuff. I mean, you talked. Oh, that's what I want to talk about. Let's talk about Liz Estrada Jones. What's your involvement with that? Because that was a show I did merch at, and I fucking loved that show. And I still
It was
have my
last
Emmy, and I still have stress balls from it.
Douglas Carter Bean. I was in the first reading of it, and I played. Who was the lead guy in it? Who was it? Teve? Who the hell was it? Derek
Uh,
Klein.
no, it was Josh Segura.
That's who it was.
Mhm.
I think I played his role first. They wisely cast him instead of me moving forward. But that was a thrill. It was a really fun show.
Oh God, that song "Layla" is now in my head.
I don't remember any of the music.
It's
I
okay.
don't know why. No, it was great. It was all great. It was just so long ago. But it
Yeah,
was the first and one of the first readings. And yeah.
it was such a fun show. And, like the cast was lovely.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of them's like moved on to like great things. Like Patty Merrin played Princess Anna in
Yeah. Yeah.
Frozen.
Yeah.
Can't think of like anything else right now, but yeah, like Lindsay Nicole Chambers was an understudy in like the last Sondheim show at the Shed.
She's also one of the funniest people in New York City. I'm a huge fan. And
They
they
just
just announced her in the show.
the Ghost
I,
of John McCain.
yeah.
Yeah, she's
She's
also a friend of the podcast as well.
That's right. I saw that. And she's just one of the funniest people I know.
Yeah. She again was like one of the people like you who I've just really always wanted to come on. And then I was just like, I just need to reach out and get that person.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Thank you. I feel honored to be compared to Lindsay Nicole Chambers.
Sure. Do you want me to compare it to anybody else that I've had on?
No, just her.
Okay, just her, no one else, no Leslie Margarita, since
Well,
I
we
like
have
bring her up.
very talented.
Should I go through the list of like people? Like, what about this one? Do you want to be compared?
I was gonna be like, no, not her. Yeah, can you imagine? No. These are the two. I'm gonna stick with these two. I'm very happy with these two.
It's
They're
okay.
very fun.
You don't know anybody else has been on. It's fine. It's no worries. Yeah.
Been busy.
I don't take it personally. Even one of my best friends has only listened to one episode of the podcast, and I've been doing this for like 4 years almost, like off and on.
One of the movies that I made,
We'll get into the movies. Don't
oh,
worry.
I was just gonna say, no, it's not to plug the movie. It's not that.
No, it's all good.
I've been trying to get my girlfriend to watch it.
Which one?
Um, Thank You Kindly with Kimiko Glenn.
I have not watched that one yet. I'm not gonna lie to you because I did my research review yesterday and it was too late at night to sit there for 20 minutes and watch it. But I did watch What's Life Got to Do with It, and it was so adorably funny.
Cute, right?
It's so cute. I loved it.
Yeah, that actor Richie is the best.
Yeah. Burns. Oh God, it was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. She hasn't watched it. Just go on YouTube. It's there. 20 minutes of your life.
I know, I'm gonna make her, but this is what I'm saying. Like sometimes people very close in your life, they don't want to watch our stuff.
Yeah. I get it. I told her, I'm like, I don't take offense. I'm like, there was one particular person that I had come on though that she like had to listen to. I'm like, I cried, the guest cried during the episode. So,
Okay. It was a really like a special like an after school special episode of like
well, it
not
was,
Tim
I can just say it was Steve Kazee, and one of my favorite musicals of all time is Once.
once. Yeah,
So,
he was amazing.
like, yeah. So the fact that I got him to come on was like a very big deal for me. Um,
Yeah,
Not saying that you're not a big deal for me either.
I would be nervous around that guy. He's so good.
Yeah, and he was fucking lovely. And I cried talking about Once, and then he cried talking about a topic that meant something to him. And that's the only episode she listened to because she too loves Steve Kazee.
Well, you have a good taste. You united on that.
Thank you. Well, we have you on the podcast now, so there we go.
No,
Not to dismiss you at all.
I
Here you
don't
are.
feel this. I'm a fan of his as well.
Yeah, no, I want him to come back to Broadway so badly. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Okay,
Good.
so go ahead. You were gonna say something.
Say he's busy. I don't know doing what, but I'm sure doing something.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about one of my favorites, South Pacific.
Yeah.
How did that come to you? You are directed by one of my favorite Broadway directors, Bartlett Sher, at my favorite Broadway house, the Vivian Beaumont, which I was very lucky my freshman year of college when they were doing Piazza. Like we had to take tech classes, and our professor got us backstage. So we were standing on the Beaumont stage, and this girl fucking spilled Red Bull on the stage. Never forget that. But anyway, let's talk about that. And then we can also talk about the reunion concert that you and I are both like waiting for tickets to
Yeah.
go sell.
Um, that show came about I mean, I just got an audition for it, and
Did you have an agent at this time, or when did the agent come into your life?
well, I remember right out of school, I auditioned for the workshop of Dirty Dancing, which we all thought was going to be a huge Broadway hit. Never went to Broadway, but ended up like breaking box office records on tour and internationally. So none of us Americans did it. But uh I was in it, Christian Borle, Matt Morrison, um, Michael Rupert, like unbelievable people.
Mhm.
Uh, and I'm again missing 20 people, but anyway, I remember going to I asked my agent at the time, I said, can I get an audition for this? There's two roles I think I could do. Um, and she's like,
For
no,
South Pacific or
this is
Dirty?
Dirty
Oh,
Dancing. It's sort of leading into that kind of thing. It's like she was like, they're just trying to see names for this. I was like, okay. So I went to the open call. And then the casting director was like, I'm gonna give you a call back. I'm not maybe supposed to tell you that, but just make sure you know and look for the material and blah blah blah. And then I remember the agent at the time being like, "Did you tell them I represent you?" I was like, "No, I was just trying not to throw up. Like I couldn't. Like I think I might be on Broadway if I get this. This is unbelievable." And then so that just happened from an open call, and then again that didn't go to Broadway. But then um, South Pacific, I had an agent and or a manager at that time. I don't remember exactly. Um, I probably had maybe I had both. I went to the audition. I had a huge fro. because Legally Blonde loved the fro, and they're like, just keep growing it, we love it. And I thought, well, I'm never going to get cast in a World War II show, but credit again
Oh,
to
by the way, like there's clips of you on YouTube as Emmett where your fro is on full display.
ridiculous. It's
It
way
is,
too.
it's like a lion's mane. It is glorious.
It's a glory, and also absolutely not, is what I'd like to say about it. But credit to Bart Scher, of course, because Bart was like, "Oh yeah, we're going to cast this guy. He'll get a haircut."
Yeah.
But sometimes you're like, "Oh, can they be creative? Can they see
That's
past?"
also what drives me nuts about people. Sorry. Like when somebody's cast in a role and they're like, oh, but they have blonde hair. Oh, but their hair, you can wear a wig or dye your hair. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Right. And I get that we're in New York or LA, and if you want that exact thing is available without having to dye the hair or wear the wig. But if the talent is right, it is
Yeah.
frustrating. And I mean, Bart is a director. Like, oh
Yeah.
my God. So he goes, yeah, that's the essence, or whatever he said. And so and the daughters of the writers got to approve it, had to approve it. And the coolest thing is we did a reading, a table read before the cast was announced or anything. We did a table read with the day one script from 1946 or whenever the show premiered on Broadway,
Wow.
with notes from the original cuts, little things. And so we didn't change anything.
So I'm like
Maybe
nerding out so much right now learning about
I was
this.
learning out.
I
This is
fucking, I know it's problematic. Well, a lot of Rodgers and Hammerstein are, but I fucking love that show so much.
well, I am not the right person to speak about the reasons why our show might have been problematic, but I am the right person because I was a part of it to speak to why, even in a time in 2008 when we weren't as aware and there were more blind spots to this stuff, Bart um, was so thoughtful about stuff
Yeah.
and was
And I
like,
feel like he always is as a director with all of the shows that he's done. It's very thoughtful and thorough and
and in a way that with a show like South Pacific or Fiddler, these kind of shows that a lot of us have seen, done, see
mm,
whatever. When I like saw Fiddler with Danny Burstein, I was like, I'm seeing a show that I've been in and seen 100 times, and yet it feels like I've never heard these lines before.
yeah,
Has such a gift of hiring the right people and then shaping them in a way that like you are hearing it. It didn't feel like a period piece. It felt like daughters not being like, but Papa, I'll be miserable for the rest of my. It was like real young girls being like, Dad, I can't marry this guy. This is awful. And he's just the best.
yeah,
So he dealt with, again, I'm not saying I'm the right person to talk about it, but I was there during the process and dealt with like, no, we can't brush over the idea that the military was segregated at this time. So that's how it was staged. And the desperation, like Happy Talk, I believe is sometimes cut in productions. And he was like, no, this is the most desperate song of the whole show. This is a woman,
hmm,
Loretta singing this song like Bloody Mary. Like I would literally sell my daughter to give her a better life that I didn't get to have. And the whole show is about racism. And also like who in the 40s were writing musicals about racism
yeah,
and segregation. And these guys were, when most shows, I don't know most, but a lot of the shows were like dancing girls with, lovely costumes. And they were like, no, at the end of Act One, we're gonna show that our leading lady is a racist. Like what? In the 40s? They
yeah.
were on Broadway.
Mhm.
So I understand. I'm sure people will point out troubles with the show, and I get it, but I don't know. I felt like he really was as responsible as one could be without changing the text.
Well, I
And then
don't
also,
think your production necessarily. I just think some of the like Rogers and Hammerstein back,
yeah, of course.
I think people listening know what I'm talking about. We don't have to do a deep dive into it.
But yeah, no, I hear you. Of course. And that's always debate with carousel and different shows. You're like,
Mhm.
wait anymore? Do we not? Yeah, I get it. I have that debate all the time with friends.
Yeah. So what was the Tony experience like performing at the Tonys? Where was it
Well,
that year? Was it at Radio City?
yeah, I
Okay.
believe the mistake I made during Legally Blonde was not going to the Tonys because that was my first Broadway show. And so a lot of people are like, oh, it's better not to go. You're going to sit there for hours. Like the producers were nice enough to rent out a space for us, a bar, and had food and drinks, and we all watched. Um, I should have gone. I should have
Mhm.
gone to the Tonys. The Tony Awards.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't have fun with my cast, but I should have just been at the Tony Awards just for the experience of it. So for South Pacific, it was very fun, and it's really fast paced. You go to your theater, you get in costume. They have a bus that brings you there right at the right time. Then they bring you in just minutes before, and all of a sudden there's like Kristen Chenoweth and other people and other costumes walking by from their performances and their introductions, and then you go do your thing, your weird cut up version of the songs that you normally do a different way every night,
Mhm.
and it feels weird and amazing and exciting. And then you go back, they bus you right out and back to the theater so you can get out of costume.
Do you notice that the thumbs up went up again? Oh, it's gone. Oh,
I can't do it on purpose. I only do it by accident.
that's not happening now. What was it? Because again, it's my favorite Broadway theater. What was it performing at the Beaumont at Lincoln Center?
It was great. I mean, first of all, from an actor point of view, the dressing rooms are the nicest you'll ever see on Broadway.
Hmm.
Beautiful rooms. Um, like each dressing room has their own private bathroom and like the most nap-worthy, sleeping, couchy daybed thing. Anyway, and I got to share it with Victor Hawks, one of my closest buddies for all these years. So we had the best time. And the theater is incredible because it's that thrust stage, so you really feel like you're kind of, I don't know, the audience is kind of with you and surrounding you. And that it was just such an epic show.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was just so in awe of our leads. I was technically on a principal contract, but definitely one of the smallest ones there.
Mhm.
And just watching Danny Burstein and Loretta and everybody, Matt, I mean, Kelly, like we just had it was just great. I just, again, was so happy to be there. Tired, it's hard, but like so happy to be there.
How did the reunion like, can you talk about the reunion or are you not allowed to?
They're, I, I, I don't know how it came. I think they just do these things, and they were
Yeah.
nice enough to invite us all back. And I think everybody said yes, unless they had some like big movie or something they're doing. So I think everyone's going to be there, and we'll have a few days of rehearsal. And I think it's I think the whole show, kind of a stage reading
So if
concert.
it's the same as it was for Piazza,
What was that like?
oh, well, that's my favorite musical of all time. And not to age myself or anything, but I was a senior in high school when it came out. So I didn't get to really see it until my freshman year of college when it was the replacement cast.
Yeah.
So it was my first time actually getting to see the original cast together. And if I ever need to like get out a good cry, I will listen to the overture of Light in the Piazza. So like
Mhm.
last week when I was like walking through the park, going to work and listening to the overture, I'm like, it's probably not a good idea because I might start crying in the park, but it's New York, so it's fine.
Everyone-
But it was actually when they were doing the King and I. So it was the King and I set, but it was like a performed concert. So they had the stands, and I think some people had books, some people were off book, and they would go in front of the stands and perform a scene and do things like that. So it was the whole show.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I think that's what it kind of sounds like we're doing.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to see everybody.
Yeah. Oh my God. I really hope I get a ticket. That's
Yeah,
crossed.
yeah,
Also,
and
if your mom can't make it, I'm available.
and you look too young, but you can pretend to be my mother.
Perfect. I can listen. I played like a 60, 70-year-old something woman when I was 20 years old in college.
Oh
Just
my
put on
God.
stage makeup.
Yeah, and this is what we were saying. Like, can't people see past our exact look? Can't they cast us because we're actors? So yeah.
Well, when I was in college, there was a professor who typecast me in that. I did what show was it? The Food Chain, where I would
Mm.
play like this person I'm gonna end up being in the next 20, 30 years, like an old, like a Jewish Long Island mother. They put like old lady stage makeup on me, had the
Yeah.
Long Island accent, and this guy like couldn't get it out of his head, this professor. So he just like typecast me in that part for like the rest of my college career. Little did he know the next year I played CB's sister in Dog Sees God, and the illusion was broken.
Broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, typecasting. I mean, not typecasting, but in his head, typecasting.
Oh, it was typecast, and then he saw me in Dogs He's Got, and I think that like, and he also told me you're not going to get cast till you're older, which is like nothing like a 20 something wants to hear when they're in college.
All of those weird comments are just unhelpful and usually untrue.
Yeah, I love Laura Linney's perspective of it. She's like, never tell any, and I'm paraphrasing what she said. Never let anybody tell you you're just one thing because you're not. People are more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand the idea that like you might play one thing for a while, like Robert De Niro, or I don't know, whatever, might be like, oh, all right, you're gonna be this type of guy, and then you're gonna, no, I can do comedies too. Now I've got the clout, and I'm gonna start doing these other things. So that's fine, but it's so silly. We're actors. We can
Yeah, we
hopefully.
can do a little bit of everything. Okay, so because you saw what I had. Okay, Othmane's prom talk. You also did Shakespeare in the Park. Do you want to talk about your Shakespeare in the Park experience?
That was amazing.
Two Gentlemen of Verona.
Gentleman of Verona, understudy. I was in the show, but understudied John Cariani. Got to go on. I was the only, because it's such a quick process. I was the only, so I was out of my normal track and hopped into John's role. That was one of my favorite nights because it was so fast and furious, and it was Kathleen Marshall, and her associate was Mark Bruni. So Mark kind of was my director in a sense as the understudy part
Yeah.
because I handle that. And so that day we had understudy rehearsal anyway, and they're like, John's sick. We're going to turn this into a put in for Noah. And I was still learning harmonies and things and blocking. We held the curtain for like 20 minutes because I was literally still learning stuff. And Rosario Dawson, Norm Lewis, all these great people. And it was great. I couldn't get in my head because I just had to be like, I did that scene. Oh, yep, I go stage right. Now I listen to you and I respond. I think with like you just had to listen and respond. So it
Yeah.
was probably better than if I had rehearsed it too long.
Yeah. I am very curious about this because I don't think it lasted that long on Broadway. I don't remember, but Enron.
Oh gosh, it did not last long at all.
But
It
you got
was
to work with Rupert Gould and you also got to work with Norbert Leo Butz.
no, I mean, I'm going to leave people out when I say this, but my favorite Broadway actors are Danny Burstein and Mr. Butts. And
I finally paid for Spotify, so I am now listening to Broadway cast albums from my youth, and I am at the very tail end of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels right now for my walk to and from work. Two of the
yes,
songs did not age very well, I will say, but it's just,
it's a show I don't know,
oh, okay.
even though I've heard he's incredible and the show is great.
That was his
But yeah,
first one.
he is, both of them take roles that are already good and make them 1,000 times better. Like Catch Me If You Can. Did you see Catch Me If You Can?
I didn't, but I was going to talk about how I learned to drive.
See that either. I say he's my favorite. I probably missed most of his performances, but
Oh, I didn't see Catch Me If You Can. Second Tony. But I say how I learned to drive because anybody who knows me or has probably listened to the podcast, I have a very special place in my heart for that show. I directed that play my senior year of college. So when they did it at second stage with him off Broadway, I saw like 5 or 6 times and probably like the best Uncle Peck I've ever seen. And then they did the revival on Broadway with Mary Louise Parker and David Morse, who originated those roles. And I saw that times. But he like as Peck, like you wouldn't have thought of him for the part, but he was so fucking incredible in that role.
they're both just
Yeah.
love musical theater the most of anything.
Hmm.
But I love real acting. That's why I brought up Julie Benko and
Yeah.
whatever. Like, um, and
I can go on about Danny Burstein as well. I want him to be my dad in a show. Like,
yes,
yeah,
I don't think there are finer actors around. There are other equally great actors, but there's nobody better than those two guys.
yeah. Maybe they should, let's manifest them doing something together.
I'm sure I'll whatever you need me to do, I'll be a
Listen, you're a writer, you're a director, you're an actor, you're a producer.
I'll
You
get
can't
it done.
happen.
Okay.
Yeah, do like a short, do call them up, be like, listen, I wrote this like short little 10-minute short film. put them in a room together, see what happens.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Um, I will say that Norbert, I don't remember who else was up for Tonys that year. Norbert should have won a Tony for Enron. It was
Mm.
the coolest play I've ever been in by far. It
Mm.
was so good. And I was the understudy for Stephen Kunken, who played opposite Norbert. So I never even, it was, we closed so
Wasn't
quick.
Aaron Mazie in it also?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
It was at the
and
Broadhurst.
Brothers. Yeah, we were at the
Yeah.
Brothers. It
I call
was,
that as the History Boys Theater.
oh, yes. I
Hmm.
like to think of it as the Beautiful Noise Theater. Is that where Beautiful Noise was?
Yes. I
Um,
remember what's going in there next. Oh, no,
oh,
wait. The
Boop?
Hills of California?
Is it Boop? I don't know. I thought I just heard two. Is it not Boop or is it,
No, the roommate, the Patty LuPone show is going to the booth.
oh, the Booth?
Yeah. And I think the Hills of California, that Chaz Butterworth show that was in London is going there, which I am dying to see.
The little video preview I saw looked amazing.
Yeah. And as soon as I saw it was in London, I'm like, this is coming to Broadway with this cast. And I had to see it because, like, The Ferryman is one of my favorite things I've ever seen on Broadway. And I saw it twice. And even seeing it a second time, knowing what happens, I was still surprised by the ending. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh,
I told you
no,
I theater nerd out so hard.
I do too. I told you I was going over the plot of Miss Saigon this morning with my mom on the phone, and I was like fighting tears.
Yeah.
I love it. I love theater so much.
Yeah. Well, this is a good pocket, hence theater enthusiast. I didn't want to say like theater nerd, but
No, but it's the subtext.
hmm yeah. We can talk. What other shows, if you were to talk to your mom about the plot of, would really get to you? I mean, I usually ask this towards the end, but I feel like this is a good moment to ask like your top theater going experiences.
I mean, the last 5 years kills me.
Mhm.
Um, uh,
Have you ever seen a production of it?
I saw with these two people, Norbert and Sherry.
Oh, wow. So you saw like the OG.
I
Well, not
saw
the
the
OG. You saw,
right. I didn't see Lauren Kennedy. How do I know all this? I'm a nerd. I know everything.
yeah.
About theater. Went to the final preview, final dress, something.
Hmm.
My friend was like, "Come to this thing with me." I was like, "All right." I didn't know that it went backwards and forwards. I didn't know anything, so I just watched it. And I remember the like, "Have I mentioned today how lucky I am to be in love with you?" That part,
Are you
the
looking
whole,
forward to the Broadway production?
yeah, 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 I am. Yeah, everyone, calm down, everybody. Hey, everybody, calm down. About casting stuff. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I get it. I don't know.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
I just think Jason Robert Brown is amazing.
Yeah, he's incredible.
He- Anything of his, and there's 1,000 people. I'd like to play the role. I didn't, so like I don't it. I don't know. Casting's always interesting, so we'll see.
So aside from last 5 years, anything else?
I kind of well, I love old stuff and I love old timey kind of stuff. Like Some Like It Hot really got me.
Hmm.
Um and The Music Man, especially Sutton, her performance, I was like, it felt like Bart had directed it. Her. Not that Hugh Jackman wasn't great, but
Yeah.
oh, I've never seen the role played that way, and I've seen it 1,000 times, and I know all the lines, and I love it. I just thought she was incredible in it. And then
Look, it's like anything that I have said this and I stand by this at least once in your life, if not more, but definitely once, you have to see Sutton Foster on stage.
yes, I'm
There's
happy I've
just
gotten
something, yeah, there's just something so magnetic about her that when she comes on stage, like she just is your only focus.
yes. And she just again, it was one of those things where like I've seen it before, but she played it without changing the text.
Hmm.
She played it differently. Like she didn't seem to have much makeup on in the beginning, which was a nice choice because it was like an old lady. I mean, not old at all, but like in those times, like an unmarried woman who's like 30 or whatever the hell she's supposed to be. And then so funny, so like caring about her little brother. I think it's a little brother, right? And then at the footbridge scene, it felt like she was in charge instead of him being in charge. So she was like, you know what, screw this. Like, I want to have this moment. And I ripped the page out and I'm choosing this moment. It was just, I was like, did it. I thought they did it. And then The Outsiders recently, I loved Suffs, by the way, and enjoyed a lot of Water for Elephants. But um, The Outsiders is maybe like one of the best directed things I've ever seen in my whole life. It's a blank stare I'm getting from
Oh no, I'm just like, I haven't seen it yet.
you. It's
'Cause I'm poor and I have no money for anything. Hence why we're waiting for like after Labor Day to see Selena v. Barnes.
well, we'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. I'm a TDF member.
Yeah, it's on TDF sometimes.
No, it's there. I've looked.
Um, well, The Outsiders, Danya Tamor is a person I need to write. Like, well, I just not often, but I occasionally just write people, and I'm like, hi, you don't know me, I'm another actor, or I'm a blah blah blah, and I just like that's one of those things where at intermission I turned to my girlfriend, I was like, our heads were in our hands. It wasn't like, oh, this is awesome. We were like, what did we just see? How did she do this?
Yeah.
Everyone was in the same play. No, it was and it felt so unified, all the different pieces of it, from the choreography to the direction to the set, the sound, lighting. And then when I saw interviews, everyone was talking about it. Like, she said, there are no lanes. If the sound designer has an idea that might make the scene better, just tell me.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
And it was so cohesive and incredible.
Yeah. What type of directors do you like to work with? Because you just mentioned the director of The Outsiders and how she works, how there's no lanes. Have you experienced that? Like also you as a director, have you done theater directing or just mostly like film?
Yeah, just film stuff. I haven't done theater directing. I would like to. And I don't know about the no lanes thing. Like, that feels like scary.
Hmm.
Like, so right now working on Selena v. Barnes with Wesley Taylor and Alex Wise as the directors.
Hmm.
Um, they're as close to no lanes as I've seen, as I've worked with. From my director friends who, like, that's their focus, they always say, I don't know the percentage, but I'll make it up, like, 85% of my job is casting the right people that I trust to do the job. Then
Hmm.
I get to come in and shape. Kathleen was great at that. Um, so they did that with Selena V. Barnes. Like, they thankfully trusted me, and Eric William Morris, who's the co-star who plays Selena, is so funny and so good. And because we had such a short, truncated rehearsal process, we had 6 days. He
Hmm.
and I would FaceTime and learn lines together because we were so scared because it's just two people and it's
You only had
70.
6 days to rehearse before you put the show up. Let's talk about that. How and why?
I think it was a scheduling thing,
Okay.
um, out of everyone's control. And so he and and we just lucked. I mean, I'd say we lucked out, but also I just believe in Wes and Alex so much that they knew who they were picking. And even though Eric and I didn't know each other, we just they might somehow know we would get along well. Anyway,
Yeah.
we met on FaceTime and would rehearse as much as we could leading up to our brief rehearsal process. So
Mhm.
we came in off book, um, and kind of with like, here's how we think the show will go.
Mhm.
And most of it is how the show goes.
Yeah.
Because I think they cast people they trusted. And then boy, did they
Got
shape the
you. Sorry,
hmm?
I didn't to interrupt. Did you have to audition for the show or was it a straight offer?
That was a straight offer, which felt great.
Mhm.
Um, they were very nice, and I got a call from Alex. I was Yeah, and he said, we're having these auditions, and we keep going. These guys are good, but we need like a Noah Weisberg funny. All right, who's next? He's good, but it's not like a Noah. We need like a Noah bit. And then they're like, why don't we just call Noah and see if he'll do it? And I didn't. They said, so we have this play. I was like, I'll do it. They're like, well, you haven't even read it. I was like, I don't care. I just want to work with you guys. And they're like, well, Alex is like, that's very stupid. I want you to read it. I want you to know how much. I'm going to tell you how much you're going to make because it's kind of like a set thing. It's off Broadway. It's not going to be huge. I was like, that's all fine. I want to come do a play with you. I'm in. My manager read it before I read it
Mm,
because I had already said yes. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she was like, this is the funniest, like on the page, it's hysterical. Um, but yeah, we had 6 days of rehearsal. We had a day and a half of tech.
wow.
That night of the second day of tech, we had an invited dress of like 70 people. So we are basically doing a performance. And then we had about a week of previews and we opened. And it feels like we've been open for like 2 weeks. It's in a great place.
Yeah.
It's just settled in. So it's even more grounded because it's a really like, I don't want to say Titanic, but it's in that like silly SNL kind of world,
Hmm.
but it actually has a ton of heart and a real storyline to it based on real facts of these two guys.
Hmm.
And so the heart of it is this friendship between these two guys, and then the humor comes from how they blow it all up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you think your ball cap, headpiece, whatever you have to wear, gives to the humor of the show?
yes, yes, because I think in a Broadway theater it would look fine. I think when you're that close in a small off 150 seat off Broadway theater, I think you're like that man has rubber on his head. And so I think it was done intentionally, and the reviews have sort of stated like how funny it is that
Hmm.
it's because it's just again, it's in that wacky world.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so it's warm. It's warm to have on your head. Uh, but the thing again, I think the reason the show works, and this is, we'll take some credit as the actors, but this is Wes and Alex and our writers, but Wes and Alex shaping it, being like, this has to be played for truth. And
Yeah.
yes, ridiculous things. Because just like people with amazing voices who I don't believe they're acting, I get bored of them. I'm like, I'll go to a concert. I don't
Yeah.
want to see this on Broadway. The same with comedy. I'm like, if I don't believe it,
Yeah.
and that's why I love Christian Borle so much and the stuff I've seen him do is because I'm like, I always believe everything you're doing and you're hysterical.
Well, I also that because you've talked about in interviews and podcasts and stuff like the acting technique and the truth behind it. And so interesting that you mentioned like believing an actor. There was a show I used to do merch at, and there was a very, very, very well-known actor in the show. And every night he had this line of like, please don't leave me to this like group of people. And there was maybe only one time I ever believed him delivering that line. Yeah.
There was Brooks as Manchus,
Genius.
genius. So I saw Prom
Oh my God.
and
Was so mad at what happened at the end of the first act. I didn't even applaud. I was like, nope, that's not right what happened. I was so mad. But
I
not
don't remember
like
what
the
the
she goes to the prom and nobody's there.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was so upset over what happened. I refuse to applaud.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
he had a line, and I'm forgetting what it was because he like in whatever's going to the prom, that
Mhm.
great song of
Yeah.
his. Um, he had a line about like not being like a spoken line about not being accepted from his. He had that background, and there was one line where like every time I saw it maybe twice, and I just instant. He had just had that tear coming up, but like fought it and was. I don't know if you remember the line, but it was something like you could tell whatever it was. It was so good. And I just love that kind of. I mean, that's why I love Friends
Hmm.
or The Office, like these shows that are so funny and they're tripping and falling, doing these goofy things, and then you're like, I'm crying over Michael Scott because he's so lonely. You have to, whatever.
We're best friends now that you mentioned The Office. It's literally all I watch.
That's all I care about.
It's not on Wednesdays on Comedy Central, so I don't know what to do with myself.
Hey, you don't do anything. You wait for Thursday.
Yeah. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I watch The Office. Everybody knows it. I say that's what she said all the time. When you're my friend for the holidays, got me a frame. That's what she said.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you
Trying to think. I have a Michael. No, I have a Dwight bobblehead over there. Yeah.
love Dwight. Love Dwight, but to me, Michael was the
Mhm. And everyone's like on the apps. They're like, I want like the Pam to my Jim. No, I want the Michael to my Holly. That's the real.
oh, of course. Of course we do. Of
Yeah.
course.
And it's Amy Ryan on The Office. So I mean, Even
I,
better. I can do an entire podcast episode about The Office.
you should. Their relationship was so sweet.
Yeah.
Ah, they were so well suited
Yeah.
for each other.
Are you in agreement that like after he left the show wasn't as good?
Because I think everyone on the show is so good,
Mhm.
and he was genius, and it was
Who
nobody's fault. They were all so good, but he was like doing this other worldly thing.
who do you think is like the most underrated character on The Office?
I love Andy Bernard.
Yeah.
Yours.
I think Creed and Kevin, because there's that the last season where Angela's husband comes out as gay and Kevin's like, I knew it the whole time. I didn't say anything. And then he like sits down and has a moment. He's like, I knew it. Or he's like, I didn't say anything or something. It's so funny. And then Creed is just so like fucking weird and great.
And really, the whole thing, it was based like he was really playing himself from that rock band from like the 70s.
Yeah. And then
Incredible.
there's like the whole conspiracy of like who's really the Scranton Strangler, and people think it's Toby, and then some people think that it's actually Creed. I believe more of the Creed than Toby. Yeah.
I love how he just Michael hated Toby for no reason.
Yeah, I saw a clip of yeah, the guy who plays Toby, Paul something, and he was saying that there was a moment where Steve Carell realized how he like as Michael hates Toby and he was filling out a birthday card and he was taking too long to fill it out. And so that's when Michael realized like that was his moment of like Michael hates this guy.
For that reason.
Yeah, just like
And they
take
would have
too long.
those little sweet moments where Toby would be like really sweet to him, and then Michael would just turn on him still.
Hmm.
I always used to think that that show was like the best drama on TV that happened to be hysterical.
Yeah,
It's such heart to me. Um, I love that show.
yeah, it's a great show. All right, so let's talk about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes, please.
So, did you see the Broadway production in the process? No, okay. I just thought it was funny that you worked with Christian Borle and now you were playing a part that he played.
I know. So the sort of behind the scenes truth is,
Hmm.
I auditioned for the workshop to
Hmm.
be Mr. Salt because Christian again had already been cast, and you know, um,
You didn't opt to shave your head like he did.
I chose not to.
Yes.
I'm proud of that choice.
Yeah.
And that's probably why the universe is like, now you're going to wear a bald cap doing this off Broadway show.
But
Um,
you're not fully bald. You have like the
I'm not,
crown,
that was
the
kind of,
rim of hair. What is
yeah.
that type of hairstyle called? Like
I don't,
instead of ring of keys from Fun Home, it's like rim of hair.
I think that's what the same
Yeah.
melody.
Yeah. So
Um,
see Celino V Barnes, I'll just like when you come out and I meet you, be like, oh, you're a rib of hair. No, I won't do
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. We'd be like, are you really the candy seller hiding? And you're going to be Wonka
Hmm.
later? Oh, so I auditioned to be that when Mr. Salt was still British,
Hmm.
and then it changed to Russian, and I auditioned for the Broadway production to understudy Christian and play Mr. Salt. So I was like, oh, I don't want to understudy, but I was like, playing Mr. Salt's one of the big principles. Like that'd be fun, and then get to go on for Wonka once in a while. Um, and now he was Russian at that point. Uh, and then they were like, well, now Mr. Salt is going to be a big guy. Like I did it at the audition. They're like, it was one of my favorite auditions ever. Jack O'Brien was amazing in the room. And they were like, so he's gonna be a big guy, we realized, because we're gonna like throw the ballerina girl around.
Hmm.
So we can't be him, but we want you to understudy Wonka. And with my agents were like, oh, do you need to like be an understudy again? Coming in from LA, you've been on the last show. Like, and I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, I'm good. So I turned it down, which is hard to do because it's Broadway and I wanted to be a part of it. And they're like, if they really like you this much, and as they're saying, and you definitely obviously want to work with these people, because I kept saying like I really want to work with Jack O'Brien and Josh, the choreographer, and all that. So um maybe they'll come back for you when the tour happens or when Christian leaves. Well, the show lasted 11 months, so there was no chance to replace him. But then they're like, just come to final callbacks for the tour. And I almost didn't go because I was like, I don't want to be on tour. And it was my best friend Adam who said, what are you doing? You live in LA most of the time, and all you talk about are musicals. That's all you care about.
Yeah.
You might be the lead in one of your favorite, movies from your childhood. So
Yeah.
went audition, went great, did it. That's how that came about.
Yeah. So I'm, excuse me, now I'm getting like really
Good deep.
interviewy. So in the like videos and stuff, you have claimed you've seen the Willy Wonka movie. You have not seen Charlie and Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp.
Right.
You didn't see Christian Bale in it. So were you worried that there were going to be some comparisons because this is a very iconic part? And did you also at any point read the book as source material? Or
I
do you
had
rely more so on the direction and the script?
I'm less of a research guy.
Hmm.
Maybe I should be more of a research guy, but I'm more of a like, I'm just gonna, and I do this with auditions too. That's what I forget if this was on while we were recording or not, but like about the breakdowns for auditions. Like
Hmm.
sometimes I'm like, I'm just gonna do what I think is funny or good or touching or whatever that's supposed to be and not worry about fitting the role perfectly because I we all spend years trying to fit exactly what the breakdown says, and then we're not just bringing ourselves, which is ultimately what ends up getting cast. So I'm happy I didn't see Christian because I probably would have copied him without knowing it. Because again, I think he's great, and I probably had some of the DNA of Gene Wilder in me from having grown up watching the movie.
Hmm.
Uh, and I just again for the audition, like they say hold your pages when you come into an audition. I had worked on it so much, so hard. Even the night before, my dad flew in and we were seeing Broadway shows, and I had the audition the next day or whatever. And we were at a diner on 8th Avenue, running lines. Like I was ready. I came in with a stack of like 7 scenes, 3 songs, and I just put it on the piano. I was like, great, what are we starting with? Holding the page would have screwed me up because I would have then been like, oh, maybe I need to look. And I tried to, and I couldn't find. So I just came in with a performance.
Hmm.
And Jack O'Brien was so incredible on day one. He's like, we didn't find it on Broadway. There's a lot of great stuff, but we didn't find it yet. I hope we find it for the tour.
Hmm.
So know what? You don't have to be any of the other people that have done this role. I love what you did in the audition, and we're gonna find our own version. That goes for everybody here.
Yeah.
We're not gonna recreate Broadway. We're gonna do a whole fresh production,
Hmm.
borrowing from what already worked. So that's what I did, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Do you, because you have also mentioned this in other things, you're not a big believer in people like holding pages for like holding sides in auditions. And you also believe that every audition is a performance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big page holder. Uh, I mean, when you're at home and you're self-taping, you could have your iPad and read off the iPad as if you're looking at somebody. And I'm for that as well, because sometimes you get it a day or two before and you're like 6 pages and I just need to spend time learning the song. I can't learn all the scenes. Sometimes you'll be like 5 minutes into the scene and then you mess up one word and that whole take is done.
Yeah.
So whatever it takes, there's no judgment on it. But like the thing I love to do, why I love doing Celino V Barnes is because I love performing. I
Hmm.
love it. So if I can like come in and use those 3 minutes, 5 minutes as like, here's my take. I think it's freaking hysterical or whatever. Um, and then be free enough too, because you know it so well. Like so in the audition for um Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, this is going back to the Broadway audition when I was still there to audition mainly for Mr. Salt. And I had played it. I didn't know what they wanted. So I played it because the song, the daughter keeps interrupting him. Like he finally gets his song and she keeps finishing almost kind of like that song in a chorus line. I can never really sing when I can like that thing.
Hmm.
So I played it like this, almost like Don Knotts from like Three's Company, or like some sort of like pushover, trying to have my big moment. Okay, finally, I'll get the big high note at the nope, she takes it. Okay, whatever. And he was like, that's hysterical. Never thought of it that way. I want you to think of it like Russian mafia guy, just totally different. So I was like, okay, got it, did it. And then he, in a very Jack fashion, he looked at all the other people behind the table and he said, now that is taking a note. But it was one of those things like I knew it so well. Had I had the pages or didn't know it as well, I couldn't be like, I'll give you the exact opposite read. Here we go.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, I don't know, because then it also takes it away from being an audition. Like screw them. They have to cast it and make the producers and everybody happy. I just have to perform,
Mhm.
and I already know how to do that.
I do want to talk about other projects and things you've been out, but while you were on tour with Willy Wonka, sorry, Charlie and Chocolate Factory, you did do a Q&A with Just Jared. And I did mention to you, I do have some follow-up questions in regards to this Q&A that you did with them. So, well, you already said you haven't seen the Depp Wonka. Do you still have trouble sleeping at night because your brother did Second City Zip Zap Zop?
Oh, that's so funny. It I can sleep, but it really, I mean, he's a great lawyer, but when you see somebody out of context that you never expect to zip zap zop, it stings.
Haunt your dreams.
That'll haunt your dreams.
Haunt your
Dreams,
dreams.
yeah.
Now, is most of your clothing still from J. Crew?
I have switched a bit,
Oh.
sadly. Um, I I I love J. Crew. I feel like they lost their way a little bit, maybe, and then the pandemic hit because they were also not doing well. Like stores were closing, they were condensing stores,
Hmm.
so something was going on there.
Yeah.
I feel Madewell, like the more women's side of things, was doing great. Why am I talking about this?
Okay, I asked you about J. Crew, that's why.
Also, the pandemic kind of like casualized me a little bit. I think I was so preppy, and I might go back to that. But like
You got
I
like
was
a little prep in your step going on today.
prepping my step, but I was like button-up shirt, sweater. I was like, I would go to the mannequin and tell the sale, like I would have like a salesman that knew me at J. Crew and be like, I'm gonna get the whole outfit, please.
So it's just like very like Harvard, like the whole J. Crew thing.
Yes, I looked
I'll
very
bring it
hard.
back to Legally Blonde. See what I did
Yeah.
there?
Yes, I do. Boy,
Mhm.
it was Greg Barnes, a great costume designer and a sweetheart. Anyway, speaking of costumes,
And like,
um,
so
yeah,
do you still have your abs from losing 20 pounds playing Willy Wonka?
I don't, and I really want them back. I'm literally I joined the Equinox
Mm,
across because there's one across the street from our theater on 24th between Park and Lex, where our
Batman.
theater,
Mhm.
Selena B. Barnes. Um, and my plan was like, I'm going to be going all the time. We finally are open. We're in the run. I'm starting tomorrow.
Okay.
I couldn't do it. Like, we're having the best time, but because just two of us running around like crazy for 75 minutes, my body was like, we're both Eric and I are loving it, but also like slightly in pain. So I was
I
like,
will
I just,
say though, I feel like this podcast now can keep you accountable. So like whoever is listening to the podcast can just like DM you on Instagram and be like, are you keeping up with the gym? What is
yeah,
happening?
app check, app instead of like a fit
App
check.
check. Yeah,
Check.
app check.
It
Like,
was a bonus. Yeah, just a little
yeah.
inappropriate, but like,
But yeah, so I live in Hell's Kitchen, walk to work through the park to go to work on the Upper East Side, like down the block from the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which is like Kismet because love that museum. There are sometimes I walk by a guy in the park who literally like has his t-shirt like lifted up while holding like his button down shirt, like walking through the park. I'm like, that's attractive, but like, why are you doing that? Are you like that hot where like half of your shirt is up, like showing your abs and like holding your button up shirt?
you're like, thank you. Also, why?
And
I
also
think
you are wearing a wedding ring, so that doesn't help me.
right, that is not helpful.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Um, yeah, I mean, we can just assume that maybe he's warm and that's his way to cool down. I did buy one of those electric fans that you put around your neck.
Yeah, I've only used that once when I had that facial on Friday that like I did not have a good reaction to. She put two fans over here when she put on like a chemical peel.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
it's okay. It happens. Anyway, final question for the follow-up Just Jared Q&A that you did. Have you finally have seen Mamma Mia?
I've never seen Mamma Mia.
Are we talking like stage production? We talking about movies?
I've
Like,
never seen
oh,
any of it. It's
okay.
terrible, terrible news. I've never seen it.
Okay.
It's not good. It's not good news.
No, listen, I that was the first show I did merch at. So even I've been to three weddings this year and
Yeah.
well, two of them were hinge weddings.
Eh,
And every wedding plays like the same music, like everybody from the Backstreet Boys. I'm there doing like the hand dance, nobody's doing it. Whenever I hear Dancing Queen, I just break out the Mamma Mia Mega Mix. Nobody gets it.
Yeah, no, they should. It's great choreo and it's classic.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get it because I don't know it. I did audition for the original company.
Oh, like original, like back in 2001.
Yes,
Okay.
I think so. Yes, did not get it.
It's okay. I actually saw the original cast. I found a playbill of it. It's somewhere in my apartment. I think I even have Miss Saigon playbills. Because and I've never seen it, but my dad, when he was moving, because I'm like the theater person of the family, like that's why I have those signed posters. And he gave me like the playbill binders. So I have like Damn Yankees, all of these great playbills of like shows I've never seen.
Um, uh, all right, here's a quick story. Um, I, my mom is a bit of a pack rat. And so when she was moving years ago,
Mhm.
I had a box, I mean, of my whole childhood of playbills and Broadway tours and Second City things with like people that are super famous now because I grew up in Chicago. So, um, to in like a moment of angst, I was like, I'm gonna show you, you don't have to hold on to things. Like, I'm gonna throw away this huge box of playbills. Like, I don't need them. I saw the shows, I have the experiences, I have the memories, I'm done. And it was like this big moment, and I've regretted it ever since.
Yeah.
I don't know what I
I
would be doing with them, but
I pretty like I gave my mom a bag of like stuff that I just like want her to hold on to. And I'm pretty sure like all of my original playbills from Spring Awakening with the original cast signed, she has probably thrown out.
yeah, yeah,
And
it's
that could go for like so much money. Because like
no,
original cast of Spring Awakening, Lee Michelle, John Gallagher Jr., Skylar Aston, Jonathan Groff, like
it's hurtful.
yeah.
I know.
But the memories are there, and so are the photos somewhere on my Facebook, I'm sure.
And also as like actors and people who live in New York and for me, some LA, some like we don't have huge places always. And what am I gonna do? Have like decades of
Mhm.
playbill? Maybe. And I don't want to burden my family and be like, just keep it in the garage.
Yeah. Oh, I have like a huge plastic container under my bed that is like just playbills.
I should have kept mine. I
Yeah.
do regret.
And well, and now like now you have a new batch of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, I kind of let go of most of those too.
Oh, yeah, no, I keep mine.
I should. I don't know why I do it. And I love Broadway. I love theater so much.
Do you keep anything other than the memories? Like you see a show, you get rid of the playbill. Do you at least like buy a magnet or something?
I wanted to buy an Outsiders shirt. I want to design merch. I
Okay.
don't want I don't want to like go into the merch business, but my favorite merch recently, and I didn't buy any, was Shucked.
Hmm.
Because I love merch that's simple, like just clean and simple. And I thought that merch was so good. And I want to like design merch that is cool and simple and maybe like a smaller little logo and look like a little like I don't need huge, I don't know. I feel like
I
I want
understand.
to,
I get you. As someone who used to be in the merch biz,
yeah.
uh, like I know how much things are can go for at this point. But I have to say, I worked at the show Labette, and I don't know if you saw it, it was with Jennifer Ludley, I think that's her name, Mark Rylance and David Hyde Pierce. And I think at one point in the show, Mark Rylance's character calls a chair Francesca. So we
Mhm.
sold a shirt with a chair on it that said Francesca on it. So I think like smart things like that are
Yes.
great. Yeah.
We have decent merch for Selena V. Barnes.
I
Like
always
it's just,
I always check out the merch.
yeah, just a little Selena V. Barnes logo, and then on the back there's like a saying from the show that's kind of a big saying in our show. Um, but I just thought Shuck did it right, and like I, I don't know the outside. Like I want an outsiders thing, but like I don't love the like fake aged T-shirt that they sell. Like I just want simple, clean. Maybe I'm a J. Crew guy still.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe you can get outside of that a little bit, like J. Crew
Yeah,
adjacent, just for the outsiders.
I should. I really, yeah, I know. Like, I need to spend $70 on a sweatshirt.
I almost bought a $90 hoodie at Niall Horan when I saw him in concert, but they didn't have my size. And I think that was God's way of being like, you don't need a hoodie for $90.
Yeah, she stopped you from buying that hoodie.
Yeah, they did. I ended up buying a shirt for $50, but I wear it around
Still,
the apartment. It's one of like the best concerts I've been to in a really long time. And when I see this band that I love next month called Keen, I will be buying a t-shirt.
I'm all about merch. I'll buy merch from like a coffee shop. Like when I was on tour, if I loved a coffee shop, I would buy merch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually just do like a magnet nowadays because I'm like, I'm not gonna wear a show shirt around town. It's just not who I am as a person anymore. It's nothing against the show. It's
I
just
feel
I
like
feel
I'd
like the
rather,
magnet's easier.
no, that's smart. I feel like I'd be more willing to wear a show shirt of a show I wasn't in. Though I worn my Celino and V Barnes t-shirt once.
Yeah.
Uh, but like, it's kind of fun to wear like some random show shirts.
I did really enjoy the Fiddler hoodie, so I did purchase that and I wore it around and I somewhere. I do have a Liz Estrada Jones hoodie because that was a great hoodie. Because
Yeah.
it didn't even look like a show hoodie. It just said like Athens U. Like it looked like a college hoodie, and then in the back, underneath the hood, it had Liz Estrada Jones.
This is what I'm talking about. Remember, Shuck just it looked like a college sweatshirt. It said Shucked in like big block college. It was great merch. Elf, the producers, Mark Hoffman's a great, sweet guy who was one of our lead or the lead producer on the show. Anyway, got us like a messenger bag with
Mm-hmm.
just little elf booty like sewn in the same color.
Hmm.
And even like for Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, I have a rain jacket that's black, and in black writing says Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist season two.
Hmm.
Because I probably won't wear it otherwise, but it's like I
Yeah.
love stuff.
Well, now that you brought it up, let's talk about Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist because I feel like that's a big
Yeah,
thing. And weirdly enough, you got to sing a song from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
I know that was a little Easter egg that our creator threw in.
Yeah.
Um, that was, I mean, that's actually like in terms of like actor information, that show happened for me because here's how it happened. I had uh I was just back from the road from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I was in my New York apartment. I saw that the creator of the show had sold a TV show, not Zoe's Playlist. I didn't know about Zoe's. And so I texted him. We're not close friends. I'd met him once and hung out once or twice for like a coffee in LA because we're like, oh, we both think each other's funny, and that guy co-wrote First Date, and I had gone backstage after First Date, and so we kind of like bonded there for a moment. So I didn't know him well, but I was like, oh, dude, congrats on selling the show. And he's like, oh yeah, thanks. Wait, are you done with? And he saw Charlie and the Chalk Factory when we went to LA. Because it's important to invite people to see your work.
Yeah.
Don't get anything out of it. I was just like, all right, who's in LA? Who, he has kids, and so they came.
Mhm.
Um, anyway, I said, congrats on the show. He's like, where are you? I said, New York. He's like, oh, good, you're done with the tour. Yeah. He's like, send me a picture of yourself. It's like, what? It's like, send me a picture. We're shooting the show. I was like, you just sold it. It's like, no, a different show. Zoe's Playlist. We're in Vancouver. And there's a role that actually I think might be really good for you. Even though I created the show, like I can't give you the role or anything. You have to audition, and
Mhm.
20 executives at NBC and producers have to say yes, but like I think you could be good for this. Um, so sorry, I have
It's okay.
do not do not disturb on. That doesn't work. Um,
Somebody butt dialed me like a year ago. I was interviewing somebody, but it was a FaceTime butt dial, and my phone was on Do Not Disturb. And I was like, and it was like the most random person to like FaceTime butt dial me. So I texted them like, "What's up?" He's like, "It was a
yeah.
butt dial."
Um,
Phone call, I understand, but like a FaceTime. So yeah, Do Not
weird.
Disturb. I understand.
Yeah, it's on.
She has.
Um, but anyway, oh, so I get the audition. My friend Sarah Bowden, who's incredible, who is in Moulin Rouge after we got back from tour. She was on tour with us. Anyway, she read with me. I sent in the tape, And it just, I don't know, it just, I was like, this is great. We got a call from my agent or manager at the time that was like, I just got a call from casting. I've never gotten a call like this. You didn't book it or anything yet. They just called to say your tape's incredible. I was like, oh, that's so nice. So have they sent it up yet to produce? No, just casting. It was like, this tape's great. And a couple days later, I found out I got it and was shooting it. And then season two got to do, a lot more in the show and more episodes and everything. And it was during the pandemic. So I
Yeah.
was in a uh, not flying out of New York at that point in LA. And it was crazy because we were in Vancouver while the pandemic was raging. And it was the biggest blessing because that and the show Super Pumped, I got to do like 3 seasons of TV when I should have been doing the least amount of work. I was working TV wise like the most I'd ever worked to
Yeah.
get to do a row of different shows.
Yeah. Do you think your theater training has helped you or prepared you for working on a film or television set?
100% because I think it's the same thing. Like I understand there's a size difference, and like if when you get to come see Selena V. Barnes, like if I did that on TV, it might be crazy. But um, who was just saying that? Some famous actor I was just seeing said the same thing. I probably stole it from them, but I had acting teachers at NYU say this, like truth is truth.
Hmm.
And if you got mugged or got proposed to or got broken up with, like we don't respond small all the time. So as long as it's truthful, like Michael Scott on The Office was not like the most subtle actor, but I believed everything he did because he's such a great actor. So I
Did you
think
get to see him in Vanya?
I didn't.
I
I
didn't
did.
either. It's fine. I did see
I,
him on the street once, randomly at like 11 a.m., I think on a Sunday by Lincoln Center. I was like, oh my God, Steve Carell. And I kept walking.
I met him once and he was so sweet and
Mm,
so nice because he had taught me improv way back in the day in Chicago before he was famous. And I saw him out in LA. Everyone was in line for this ice cream shop, and he went into the bakery next door that nobody was in. And I left the line for the ice cream shop to go say hi. And I was like, "Hey, Steve." And he's like, "Oh, hi." I was like pretending he remember. I was like, "You're not gonna remember me. I studied with you at Second City, and I just want to say thank you. And I'm an actor now, and so much of the basics of what you taught me of listening, responding, and all that stuff, I just use it every day. And thank you." And we talked for like maybe 10 minutes, but not even about showbiz, about like being married and relationships. I think I'd just been in a breakup, like just a really nice, down to earth. And I said two things that were a little embarrassing. One, well, not embarrassing. One was like, "Is it crazy?" He's like, "Yeah, it's crazy." He's like, "Ever since 40-year-old virgin, it's a weird thing."
yeah.
And then the thing I remember saying like, just like, "Congrats on everything," as if he had booked like, a show at a regional theater somewhere. But I meant like, "Congrats on being one of the biggest TV and movie stars in the world." But I
Yeah.
said it. Yeah, he was very sweet.
Okay, I'm trying to remember what we were talking about that led us to Steve Carell. Oh yeah, well, no, I also asked the question about the theater training helping with film and TV because my For You pages sometimes shows me like actors talking about stuff. And I mean, I always have the adage of like Marlon Brando saying like we're always performing somehow, like you have a different persona because he was on a talk show and he was saying to the talk show host like you're acting right now, you're like a different personality right now interviewing me than you would be off stage. And I feel like that a little bit too, like if I'm on the phone, like picking up the phone for like a patient who's calling the doctor's office I work at, like my tone of voice is different from how it is right now talking to you.
Yeah.
But I think it's Emma Thompson who was talking about like theater training is so integral to like working on film and TV sets because of like the waiting around. You know how to keep yourself busy, aka like you know how to get yourself prepared and be present for when you go on.
Yeah, that's interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know. I hear that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I relate to that exactly because
Mhm.
it does feel so different because in theater we get to do everything in order. We get
Yeah.
to rehearse. In TV, you don't rehearse. Now, maybe
Yeah.
multi-cam sitcoms, you rehearse for a couple days.
Did you get to rehearse Modern Family with your calves?
No.
I only say that because of the scene in your reel.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, I love that scene. They no, we don't rehearse. Only multicams rehearse for the most part.
Well, I
You
would
rehearse,
imagine that like Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, there would have to be some sort of rehearsal process for that type of show.
so you don't rehearse the scenes, you just rehearse the music. So when you're not shooting, you're like recording a song or with Mandy doing choreography or whatever, but you don't rehearse the scenes. And
Interesting.
so and that's like almost all TV. So you come in off book,
Hmm.
you come to set usually not in wardrobe. They block it and they go, okay, you'll stand here, figure it out. Great. You go off to wardrobe, hair and makeup, then you come back. And while, so they do that so the crew guys and ladies can see how to light it now that
Hmm.
we've movement while they're lighting it, which can take a long time. We're in hair and makeup. Then we come back and we just do it a couple times, maybe a couple times from each angle. So, the only times I've gotten to rehearse TV stuff is like multicam, like The Neighborhood on CBS or something where you rehearse it like a play.
Hmm.
Um, and the set for those are like an IKEA. So you have all the different, you're like, here's a living room, and then there's a kitchen set, and it's all in one big room. And then you just like, all right, everyone, we're shooting here, and then they do it, and maybe you reshoot a little sign, hey, great, now we're all rolling over to the hospital set, and then you roll over and you know,
Hmm.
yeah.
No, I'm
So
just looking at my notes on you. Like, what else is there? Because you've also done like over 175 national TV and radio commercials.
yeah, about those. Yeah.
You forgot about them.
Yeah, I used to do a lot more of them.
Mhm.
Uh that whole side of things has changed a lot. But so fun
Yeah.
and great money, like or used to
Yeah.
be. So just very helpful so you don't feel desperate when you're going to the theater auditions and film and TV auditions because you're like, I have some money now because I've gotten to do some voiceovers and some commercials, and that really helps. And they're fun.
So TV and commercials and voiceover is not what it used to be.
Correct. A lot of it has maybe even the majority. I don't want to say the wrong numbers, but I'm guessing a little bit, but I think the majority has gone non-union. Even huge companies that you know and hear and are aware of, they're doing non-union commercials. Um, and so yeah, it's just changed a lot. I mean, and I'm not even sure like yeah, I'm not sure. I'm lucky that I still have some things and some voiceover and some stuff, but like I also it was easier to book back in the day because I was just talking about this with some friends. You would go in person to the audition
Hmm.
and for a voiceover. So they could see how many people, 20, 30, 40, 50 in a day. And you had a good rapport with the casting director and they knew you. And then maybe out of the, let's say 50 they auditioned that day, they send, here's our top 10. And actually these two are our favorites. And all of us, we were booking all the time. I was in like voiceover booths and just I was the voice of NyQuil, DayQuil, ZQuil, ClearQuil for a decade.
Wow.
Um, and a bunch of other stuff. So like because no one was giving you anything, but you just have these relationships. Now you do it all from home.
Yeah.
So it could come from all over the country. There could be hundreds. One time I booked a great voiceover spot for Burger King and it ended up, I think we recorded for 2 days. So I kind of became buddies with the executive, like the ad exec. And I was like, how did I get it? Why me? And they were like, they explained what they liked or whatever. And they're like, you were auditioning out of New York. Once we heard you, we knew you were the guy. We didn't even listen to LA auditions. So there's however many people in LA that sent in their auditions and edited it up and were so excited for this audition, and they never even listened to it.
Wow.
And they would no, they're just like, oh God, I didn't get that one. So the numbers are harder now too, I think.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about, I hopefully am I pronouncing it correctly,
Yeah, Shermerville, yeah.
Schermerville Productions. Let's talk about it. So it's your production company. Did you start it with anybody? Is it just you? What is it? Tell the
Didn't
kids
start.
at home.
I will. I didn't start it with anybody, though. My buddy Adam and I, who I always talk about, we grew up together, have always talked about Shermerville and all that. And it's Shermerville was the name of Northbrook, my suburb, 100 something years ago,
Mm,
before it got officially incorporated as like an official city. So nobody owned Shermerville.com or Shermerville Productions. So I bought them. And so that's the name of the production company. And um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've mainly just used it to like produce my own stuff. I haven't ventured out to like, because it's not my focus, not what I want to do. I don't want to like go raise money for other people's stuff, not because they're not worthy of it. I just that's a lot of effort and time that I
mhm.
don't have.
Yeah.
So I've used it to be able to like professionally and appropriately raise the money and produce things
Yeah.
in
So we talked about what's life got to do with it, which you wrote, directed, and starred in. Um, no, wait. Yes, that's what it is with the zombie.
yeah, yeah.
That won a couple of film festival awards.
Yeah, our biggest was the Vale Film Festival. We beat out, it was really weird. I mean, I don't know how we did it, but we beat out like actual movie stars. It was like Tom, what's her name? Oh my gosh, she's so great. Tom Hanks's wife.
Rita Wilson.
Yes. I was like, well, we're not gonna win. Like, you're actually movie stars. We won. I don't know how. And maybe it was because it was like just charming and lower budget and like, you
It
know,
was like I watched it yesterday on IMDb and it was just like I told you, it was like adorably cute and funny. I enjoyed it
yeah.
so much.
I always thought that could be I always wanted to make it a sitcom about those two guys living together.
I mean,
Um,
why not?
uh,
Just completed what, two pilots? Yeah.
that's right. The third.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and then the other one, Thank You Kindly. Um, I was lucky enough to cast Kimiko Glenn in it, and yeah, that was a great one. It's like a romantic comedy.
Yeah. Which you can also watch Broadway World, and I think
I
on
think
YouTube.
I don't know where it is actually. I'm not sure. I know Broadway World premiered it.
It's
We
on.
were we won festivals and did all that stuff too, but they did like a exclusive premiere. So I don't know where it is if it's still on there, but
No, it's on there.
yeah,
Not to like interrupt you, but
yeah, I
important
don't know.
research. Yeah. But you said I can ask you back. So I did mention like before, this is like deep dive, but like 15 years ago, you worked with Jeff Hiller on a little thing called Us on Your Side.
Yeah, it's actually another Jeff Hiller is truly, truly, truly one of the funniest, smartest people I know, and also sweetest. And I'm so happy for his success. And because I remember his show got put on hold because of COVID. And he was like, "Oh my God, I finally like after all these years got this amazing break, and I hope the show doesn't get scrapped." And it's such a good show.
Mhm.
But yeah, we co-wrote these sketches called Us on Your Side, and then I wrote a pilot of it, which I've also never done anything with. So maybe once Selena V. Barnes is done, because I've been in writing mode a lot recently,
Mhm.
maybe I'll take that out and do a rewrite and see. Because it's easier also if you go pitch something to a network and they're like, "We really like you. We don't want to buy this. What else do you have?" You're like, "I have a funny show about these two guys. I have a show about this kid who does theater,
Yeah.
some other things and with you or ready to go."
Well, back to Schumerville a little bit. You're also working on a musical.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that I will say that is not making much progress now, just again because of time. Like these things take so long.
Yeah.
Uh, but Barry Weiner, who wrote oh my God, what the heck's the name of the show? Jesus. I'll think of it. It's a great show. Why can't I think of it? It's a person's name. I was the lead. I'm on the album. Why can't I think of it? Calvin Berger.
Mm.
He had started to write a musical together, and then he went and had a beautiful family. And I went and started working more. And I was like, well, we're gonna put this on hold. So I would say that's in the on hold phase, and the TV scripts are what's taking the lead.
So let's jump back really quickly into Celino v. Barnes. Why should people go and see it and tell us about it? And is it an actual play or a musical? Because yet to have an answer. I know there's
You
probably songs of the jingle in there.
definitely sing the jingle. Um, it is a play,
Okay.
and it is. I'm not just saying this. I think audiences would agree, and it's a nice intimate theater at the Asylum over on 24th between Park and Lex, and so we see their faces and hear them quite well. Um, it is the I don't know, it may be the funniest, it's certainly the funniest thing I've ever been a part of. The writing is so funny. It is a struggle every day to not laugh at Eric William Morris and just my co-star and also just the lines that are written. Um, it is I said this the other day on Good Day New York, where I was like, someone came over to us after the show and was like, the joke to line ratio is the
Mm,
highest I've ever seen in a play.
yeah.
And yet it has heart and people are awing and tearing up at the end. I saw somebody posted, they're like, why am I crying at the end of the show? It's so silly. Like I'm literally like tearing. It is just well constructed and based on the facts of what actually happened to Steve Barnes and Ross Salino, these two real life, lawyers who had this huge firm and
Mhm.
then blew it up and sued each other. And um, it is the funniest play. I mean, I'm not comparing ourselves to Oh Hello or those two amazing guys, but it's in that vein.
Mhm.
I would
So
say
no
Oh Hello.
Netflix special, and you're not gonna like bring up, I don't know, like Seth Meyers for Too Much Tuna.
Right.
When I saw the show, I'm a huge, like, I have a deep rooted love for Seth Meyers. So when I saw Oh Hello, he was actually the special guest that night, and he was like a row or two in front of me, and I was freaking out.
Oh my God. We had Jerry McConnell at the show yesterday.
Mhm.
And again, because it's an intimate theater, I came right out into to do this first scene. I was like, oh, yep, that's him. Then you try not to get in your head, be like, is Jerry McConnell liking it? Is he liking it? Um, yeah, it's amazing when you see these people that you admire and they're so close.
Yeah. Well, I also, like, I saw a stand up at City Winery and I met him after, and he was so nice. And
Uh,
when like the meeting was done, I hyperventilated.
yeah, perfect.
He was on Mars. Yeah. So I just love him so much. Okay. So how long can the people see Celino v. Barnes? How long it's playing for?
Yes, we are open through October 13th, 2024. And
There.
there's a normal 8 show a week schedule, 7 o'clock at nights, 3 o'clock matinees.
Any hopes of a extension?
Yes,
Okay, great. So we're gonna do the Inside the Actor Studio questions now. Are you ready?
yes.
Are you nervous? Because you
I'm
don't.
fine. It's very red. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's like 9 o'clock at night. We've been talking for a very long time.
I'm gonna order Thai food. Okay, good.
I'm actually thinking of like, what am I going to eat for dinner? All right, here we go. What is your favorite word?
Love.
What is your least favorite word?
Goodbye.
What turns you on?
Kindness.
What turns you off?
Mean people.
What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
What sound or noise do you love?
The sound of if you have a pile of bricks and you kind of move them around. If you go watch the Blues Brothers, Carrie Fisher blows up a building around the Blues Brothers and they're buried in bricks and rubble and they stand up. It is the most satisfying sound. Find me on Instagram if you hear this and you watch that, you will love the sound.
Do you have the clip of it on your Instagram?
No, it's in my heart.
Okay. What sound or noise do you hate?
Horn honks,
That's like one goes and then another one, and it's just like a long extension of like a horn. It just, yeah,
especially
Mhm.
in New York when like you can go nowhere and you're like that you're doing nothing except
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. I live on 8th Avenue, so
Oh, it's the epicenter. People go to 8th Avenue to honk.
yeah. It's the worst. And then you have the protests up 8th Avenue, and then you have like the loud music up 8th Avenue, all the things.
Keep protesting the honks.
Probably. Okay. What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
Interior design
What,
or house flipping architect or that stuff.
yeah. Okay. Are you a big HD TV fan? Yes, no,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
I like a
Love,
house hunters. And then I'm like,
love a house.
I'm like, I'm their age. I can't even afford my apartment. Okay. What profession would you not
Live in
like?
New York
That's
because
true.
we've been crazy and we chose an artistic life and the who cares?
Yeah.
We're beautiful life.
I'm happy I have a roof over my head, good family, good job. We're
Yeah.
chilling. Life is good. It's
Nice.
good. What profession would you not like to do?
Hmm. Well, I don't think I'm brave enough to be a firefighter.
Maybe in a TV show or movie or
I would
on
be.
theater, film. That's the same thing. I'm tired. I, what day of the week is it? Okay. And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Um, you get to spend the rest of time with your family.
I mean, then James Lipton would say, here are your students.
That's right.
Okay, so we talked about theater experiences already. Anything you'd like to add to that that you didn't already mention?
Um, I miss Lane Stritch.
Did you get to see her in Little Night Music?
No,
I
I
think that's
saw
the
her.
only thing I ever saw her in.
It's amazing.
I think
No,
so. I remember standing for the show and it being very long. And then like they're just going, remember, like every 10 minutes in the show. Yeah. Anyway.
I just remember it was one of those moments where I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't care about your voice, even though I love a beautiful voice. I
Mhm.
care about your acting." Because
Yeah.
I saw her like after 100 cigarettes belting out this stuff, and I was like, "It doesn't matter what it sounds like. Like I just believe everything." I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
touched by all
Do you
that
ever
stuff.
watch Documentary Now?
No,
Because they did a parody of the Company documentary.
all that. Yes,
Paula Pell played the Elaine Stritch character.
yes. With
Alex Brightman's in it too. And so is Richard Kind. And Alex Brightman has like the song about doing cocaine.
yes. By the way, Richard Kind does our announcement for like turn off your cell phones at
That
Selena.
that's incredible. Well, listening to Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, I remember that he actually replaced Gregory Jabbar in the show.
Ah,
Yeah. Fun facts. Okay. So you miss Elaine Stritch, and we talked about anything else before we move on.
I miss John Ritter. Okay, that's it.
I never saw him in anything. I know that he did a play, wasn't it was it called Art, the play that
I,
he did?
I don't know if he was in art. I know he was in a Neil Simon play,
Mhm.
something dinner or something. I don't know, dinner party. I don't know what it was called. I just like watching the old reruns of Three's Company. He's like that generation's Dick Van Dyke, and I just
Yeah.
he was the greatest and apparently really, really kind and really sweet.
I'm gonna like, ready? I don't know if a lot of people know this. I'm gonna say the movie. Ready? Problem Child.
Problem Child. I've
And
only seen moments of it.
you've only seen clips of it. Do yourself a favor
Yeah,
and then watch it. And then there's a Problem Child 2
with him.
with him. Same him and the kid.
Oh wow, maybe when I order some Thai food, I'm gonna watch a little Problem Child.
Yeah, please do. You'll have to let me know what you think of it.
But might also just watch Rachel Maddow. But you know,
I'm just gonna watch The Office.
I support that. I support it.
Yeah. So it's my happy place. It's what I watch. Yeah. Okay. So do you have any dream roles or projects that you would like to work on?
Um, I mean, I would like to work with Norbert, and I'd like to work with Martin Short, so I can call him Marty. And I would like to. I mean, I don't really have any dream projects. I just like to work, but there are those people I want to work with. I want
Mhm.
to work with Tanya Taymor. And the directors I've worked with are amazing, so I'd love to work with them again.
I mean, you have
Uh,
a pretty good list of people you have worked with. You're very lucky.
I'm very lucky that the shows I did were all original companies and all like Casey Nicholaw, Jerry Mitchell, like Bart. I mean, these people are Rupert, like amazing directors.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, is there anything else you'd like to add? Questions, problems, concerns, life advice?
Hmm. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know. This has been amazing. I mean, do you have
Yeah.
any other? I've changed the watch face by accident. Do you have any other questions?
I've also been like looking at your watch. I'm like, oh, it's that time already. And I've been looking at mine. I'm like, it's 9:12. We met up at 6:30. I don't even know what time we started.
We also chatted for a while before.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, it happens. Listen, I chatted with someone until like 11 at night and they brought wine onto the podcast with them. And I said, that is the best thing. And they said, oh, I should have asked that I had wine. I'm like, that's fantastic to me. You could have wine. I don't care.
no, if it would go longer, there would be drunken noodles with chicken here.
You know what? Next time you come on the podcast,
Yeah.
whenever that is, let me
I'll
know.
order I'll order us Thai food.
Oh, perfect. Maybe we can do an in-person. I haven't done an in-person podcast
Yeah.
since I was in London last summer.
Oh wow.
And I got to interview a cast of an off West End show, which was pretty cool.
That's good.
Yeah, that was my last time doing an in-person podcast. Did it in like the girls' dressing room.
Yeah, well, that'd be fun, an in-person thing. I mean, this is feels fine, but like, wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah. I just always say Zoom because it's easier because I have a studio apartment now and I don't know you personally. So it'd be awkward if you were just like, come to my apartment, you random person.
Bedroom, living room,
Yeah,
kitchen.
see?
Oh, I
Bed, couch behind me. Well, kitchen is that way.
oh, okay, separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the Heights right now, so this is a large. They have a little more space up here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I feel like we're both tired and hungry, and we're just like, anyway, you could stay on when we're done recording, but
Yeah,
Noah, thank you
please.
so much for coming on. And everyone listening, make sure to check in on Noah to see if he is keeping up with getting his abs at Equinox.
They need to come back.
Yes. And what else? Watch the clip from the Blues Brothers about the bricks.
Yeah, it's earlier in the movie. I really think you'll love the sound. It's
Okay.
great sound. Come see Celino v. Barnes through
That was,
October 13th, 2024.
mhm.
Go watch reruns of Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist and go watch Super Pumped on Netflix.
Well, also your shorts. Watch What's Life Got to Do with It? I watched it on IMDb yesterday, and
Uh,
then
Great.
did you not know it was on there?
Good.
Surprise! Now you know.
And then I guess I don't know how to find Thank You Kindly. I've actually talked to my manager on where it needs to like land.
No, it's on
Still
I
on
think
Broadway.
it's on like Broadway World and or like it brings you to YouTube or something. So it is on
Oh,
the internet. I promise. I was too tired to spend 20 minutes to watch it. It was
no, I know.
later.
I
Uh,
haven't watched it in time, but I will now
I
force
did
my girl.
fast forward through it, so I kind of know what happens at the end.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's fair.
I'm like, he's coming on. I should at least like
Yeah,
have
yeah. Oh, I mean that movie. You watched it? No.
no. I didn't watch it. I fast forwarded, if that helps.
Fine.
Listen, I did look, I us on your side.
Well, if Jeff Hiller's in it, you gotta check a few out.
Yeah. I watched the like one full episode and it's when you guys went to Radio Shack because somebody's TV.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That was funny. Yeah, Circuit City or whatever.
Oh
Because
yeah,
the store
Circuit City.
empty store.
Yeah. And I was trying to figure out if that was the Upper West Side. I'm like, is this the Upper
But
West Side? Yeah, it
I
looked
used
like
to live on Amsterdam between 82nd and 83rd, so we just walked over to Broadway because that store had been sitting vacant forever.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh yeah, I think that lady had four canes. No, she had a walker or something. There was some joke in there, but
Yeah, that was it. You remembered. Okay. Thank you so much again for coming on. I feel like we're both just like needing to go to bed.
you need to pause this and then I'm gonna order food and then we'll wrap up.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks for listening, everyone. as I look at my microphone like it's a person. Go see Solino v. Barnes. Yeah, what? Okay.